Wifey gave me a cold.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Irongeek Cast number 102. Poppin with Pippy LongStocking. I have no idea. Charles chose that particular title. Everybody doing okay?
It's Poppin. I'm doing good.
And he's not even here yet to explain the title.
Yeah,
Right.
Hello, world.
Such a slacker.
I'm pretty sure what he meant by the title was "It's Poppin" with Pippy LongStocking. That just something else that would rhyme.
My gosh, man! Can somebody shut that 13-year-old up?
You know, you guys have the power to mute me, and you did the first time that I was on the podcast.
Wait! Hold on! I'll get it.
Oh man.
Well, see, like, this one really gets me. We were doing this to hang out the other day that wasn't recorded. I didn't have an option for eject, to my best of my knowledge, but now I can see I can eject in this one.
I think it's a difference between the hangouts on air and the just normal hangouts.
Yeah, Poppin with Pippy LongStocking.
Hey, look who decided to show up.
Yes, driving through the snow. Meow. Meow.
There's not a
Explain that
meow
title
thing.
for us, Charles.
That doesn't look like a one-horse open sleigh to me.
Oh no, it's coming down a little bit, but yeah. This is what happens when you go to pre-order Super Mario Deluxe.
Oh.
Hey, haven't you ever heard of this thing called what's it called? The internet.
Amazon.
Now, here's the thing: I go and support people because the people at GameStop are nice, so I go and support them.
Man, fuck GameStop.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Jack. You beat me to it.
Man, fuck GameStop's mother.
No, fuck Game.
Ouch.
Charles, no, I'm serious. Fuck GameStop. Fuck Amazon. Because I had been trying to order the same monitor for 6 months, but it kept falling off the damn truck.
Seriously?
Oh man, well keep your pimp hand strong. Woo, tell us more. Tell us more.
Fuck Amazon.
For GameStop. How about Starland Games, all the other game stores out there?
I could fuck Amazon's. Yeah, that would be kind of cool.
And Black Rifle Coffee, right? Everything. Woo.
Oh my god.
No, I ain't got no beef with Black Rifle Coffee.
Okay. I'm about to say, man.
Charles, what is the origin of the title, by the way, since I used your title for today?
You know what? You know what it was? Because I was sitting there and I was just thinking, and then the song Pippy LongStocking came into my head. So I was like, okay, Poppin with Pippy LongStocking.
I wasn't far off.
All right.
Well, you guys know I'm not normal. It's just kind of how I think.
Oh god, it's in my fucking head now! Son of a bitch!
Yes,
my head also. Thanks, Charles.
Into your town.
Damn it.
Oh yes.
Yes, we are completely normal individuals talking about things that no normal individual will talk about.
Exactly. But my week has been pretty awesome. Found a couple of things. I've been playing with soap again.
About time you took a shower.
Like using it?
Attacking it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I found in one of our products they have soap web services, and they're telling me that's the hidden API for their product. I'm like, meow.
Okay.
So
how hidden?
Not very hidden. Not very well.
Okay.
He's like,
let me put it this way.
Charles is like,
Derb. Let me
soap.
tell you something. Derb found the directory. Not truly hidden. If Derb can find a directory, not truly hidden. So Derb found it, and then I just went to it, and I was like, this looks interesting. WDSL. WSDL. And I was like, another one, and another one, and another one. So, of course, I had to pop out some nice burp. And
some server-side and cross-site request.
And yes, and try to do some nice XML injection with a little bit of soap rubbed up on it. Woo, little tasty. But you know, I'm having a little fun with it. Also, too, this week I've been a JavaScript junkie.
Oh no, you're going to the dark side.
Dude, I don't know what it is. I was watching like today, like earlier today. I was watching Rockman, the anime Japanese cartoon, and JavaScript in it. I'm working on my encoder page. Nice. Even though, I know Hackvert has their own. I'm just like I said, I'm just getting to the point now where I just want to code my own tools and just have some fun with the shit, and then post it on GitHub and be like just every other normal developer out there that's a Rubyist or a C Sharpist or a Gonostrophy or whatever you want to call it.
I'm Gnostic. Okay,
you're Gnostic. Matter of fact, a Golanthropist.
Ooh,
look at that! Or some people are feeling a little rusty.
Yeah. So every time that I see, did you guys see the 2018 developer survey from Stack Overflow?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so no surprise, Rust is one of the most loved languages, yet the majority of all projects on GitHub or on Stack Overflow are not projects of questions are JavaScript related, or the people have like full-time jobs in JavaScript.
Yes.
But you know what? And subsequent frameworks.
But you know what's also funny? It's my journey just freaking gets even crazier. So now, okay, like I said, JavaScript. I'm a JavaScript junkie, but weeded out on WebAssembly. What I found out, what I learned about WebAssembly is that you can compile any language to get it. You can use it to compile any language to get it to run in the browser. And amazingly enough, it supports Python too. I'm like, holy shit. So it's just crazy because it's just like, damn, I went through one journey, but now it's so many different pieces of the puzzle that's actually coming together. And it's just like, all started from being a JavaScript junkie. Then I graduated to weed. Well, I call it weed for WebAssembly. Feeling a little rusted out. And, not as sharp as the sharpest. Ripped up by Ruby. But yeah, it's been a fun, interesting week so far. And it's only Wonderful Wednesday. Yeah.
I walk in there, go table 3 and walk.
So who knows what Thrilling Thursday has to bring, but that's neither here nor there. So
hopefully a fishing campaign finally for me, but that's said and done.
I saw your tweet and I started screaming with you with the meme.
Oh yeah.
I was like, yes.
Yeah, I've been working on a personal project that I will probably unveil once I feel it's ready for the podcast on this.
Yeah. And then when you posted that meme, I was listening to Aerosmith's Dream On, like the last part where he's like, Dream On. And then I heard something go cling, and then I seen that picture. I said, that was talking about perfect timing.
The singularity, the mind, man.
Yeah, and and what's crazy, my coworker walks in, he's like, you know what, Charles? I don't even want to know. I see you with Aerosmith. You have your robotic boots on and a Fallout 76 t-shirt. I don't even want to know. And now you have a beard. So what is going on here?
InfoSec, not even once.
Yeah. So no, nothing normal about me.
Wait, is all you had on was the shirt and the boots?
I forgot the pants. I had pants on. I had on jeans.
Crucial detail that was left out.
Oh yeah. I forgot about the. Well, you know us. We forget pants. Since when have pants been important?
I forgot pants most of the days today. That was nice.
Yeah, especially us who work remotely quite a bit. Pants can become an issue. Yeah, it's kind of a secondary item.
Exactly. Pants are a secondary item, which why I named this call Poppin' with Pippy LongStocking without pants.
Without pants. All right. Great time for Ricky to join. He's probably like, "What the hell is happening?"
Yeah, Ricky, my brother Ricky. Hey,
what's up, guys?
What's up? How you doing, my brother?
I'm hanging, man. How are you?
What? I'm feeling hot. I just told these guys I've been a JavaScript junkie this week, along with weeded out with WebAssembly, and feeling a little sharp, rusted up by Ruby in a rusty kind of way. And now it's Wonderful Wednesday, and Poppin' with Pippy LongStocking.
Stay away from Ruby. That's a horrible language.
Woo!
Yeah. Bounce right out of that shit.
Look, all I'm saying, sometimes I'm down with OOP, and you know me.
I know you. Yes, sir.
Woo! Speaking of JavaScript,
yeah.
I went to a Mac Fest over the weekend. They have a demo scene area now. And the whole panel on trying to get some demo scene effects entirely in JavaScript. Found it really cool.
Okay. Well, I mean, here's the thing. JavaScript's going to be around for a very long.
Oh, God.
You know what?
Yes.
JavaScript is the water bug of the internet.
More like the STD, but okay.
We can all blame Brendan Ike for this.
I thought Flash was going to be around forever.
What do we think was going to be around forever?
Well, we'll see in 2021 or 20?
We're back.
Sorry,
well, a lot of people, from what I've been researching, a lot of people were screaming that some people were screaming that WebAssembly was supposed to replace JavaScript because of speed. But you gotta realize, because it's even sites still out there in 2019 that are written in Perl.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And Perl's been around for over 30 years.
Yeah,
so,
WebAssembly is definitely better, but you just have so much stuff that would have to be ground up or created. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
The cost of transition is just too great. WebAssembly is just not that big an improvement to justify the transition for so many people.
And the language is only 4 years old.
Yeah.
It's only 4 years old. So, you look at that and you're just like, okay. Because look, like I just told you today, I found within one of our products, it's using SOAP on the back end as a web service.
Yeah.
I mean, SOAP was created to replace DCOM.
Yeah.
I mean, look how old that is.
I remember when Java was new. I remember one of my professors talking about how they came about with Java to replace dynamic linked libraries, and it was going to be the end all be all.
So. And now look, when Java came out, next thing you know, you farting with NetBeans. You know what I mean? It's just out of control.
Screw NetBeans. Dude, it sucks for source control.
Yes, it does.
Okay, so fun fact about NetBeans for anyone that uses it for Java or whatever the heck you're using. If you are using Git for your source control and you do Git and you in NetBeans beautify the file using the beautify option to reformat your code so it looks nice, it will literally delete that file and then create a new file on top of it, and then your Git thinks that you deleted it and created a whole new file. It is
with
annoying.
NetBeans. Really?
NetBeans. Yes.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I will go nuts.
I found that out day one of being a developer. It was really bad because my boss looked at me and he was like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like,
"Let me say something. NetBeans makes Cold Fusion look sexy."
Oh,
damn, that's fucking low.
But yeah, Cold Fusion is about the worst.
And Cold Fusion is an OS on top of an OS.
Mm-hmm.
But if you put it in a Docker container, is that an OS on an OS on an OS?
Oh shoot! if putting cold fusion. Let's put it this way: putting cold fusion in a Docker container is like the double stuffed Oreos,
and then having that running on, and then having that run on
Windows. Moped engine inside of a Yugo.
We heard you like operating systems, so we put an operating system in your operating system.
So and shove a little Emacs in it. Jesus Christ!
We could make this. We could make it worse. You could have that within a Docker container, within a virtual machine.
Okay,
that's on a host system.
You're talking about putting a cockroach in the Oreo now.
I will get
putting a cockroach in the fucking Oreo.
Dude, I will get real stupid with it. Docker machine.
That's what I'm talking
Docker
about.
machine. No, inside of a Docker, put. And you know I'm a free BSD guy, so put a jail inside of a Docker, inside of a virtual machine. So you got a virtual machine, a Docker, and a jail.
I think we just came up with our own hack the box just to be annoying.
Yes, hack the box.
Box.
That's like that one dude's meme. Like I don't know who mentioned it, but the guy that said, "So I heard you like OS, so here's your OS inside of an OS."
Yes.
You can put a Windows server on there that's running Hyper-V that runs your guest OS.
Mary says the Docker is like an onion.
An onion
So I guess like ogres as well.
Mm-hmm.
Ogres are like onions.
Yeah.
They cry?
Huh? You don't remember? Come
They
on.
cry? What? No, I was continuing
Yeah.
the bit.
Mary says, "Yep."
All right. We've gone on long enough. Let's get into the show notes now. Breach report.
Breach reports. Breach report. Breach report.
That was beautiful. I wish I could just hear that every single day.
Yeah, you can put it on loop and it's on YouTube.
Nah,
We're gonna talk about the Dark Operator, or I'm sorry, Dark Overlord.
Oh crap! Yeah, I'm gonna look that up once I get done with the breach report and try to
He
find
just
some of the
released
stuff
something
he's
today.
posted.
The Dark Overlord.
Yeah,
Like,
we talked
the
about it
lowest
last
point.
week, but
Yeah.
yeah, he has started publishing, so I did
Yeah.
hit that and forgot about it.
Shit, okay.
Yep.
So first up, Humana got hit by a third-party compromise, and I want to try to go through these fairly quickly. Third party was Banker's Life, and Banker's Life detected the breach August 7th. I mean, we're talking like 6-7 months ago.
Yeah.
And it's just now finally getting all the way through to Humana coming out and disclosing, yeah, we were part of this. Because Banker's Life ties into Humana systems, so people can sign up for Humana through Banker's Life. And so whenever Banker's Life was breached, hackers then had the ability to potentially get data from some of those tie-ins to the Humana systems. Yeah, and it was just like here within the last couple of days that Humana disclosed it. But they were fairly responsible about it. They informed law enforcement and did external forensics. Banker's Life did. So they don't say at what point Humana was brought into the picture, where, you know, from their investigation they found that, oh yeah, like Humana data was compromised. But at some point they were. But yeah, I feel like the disclosure was probably slow. I think they did most of the things right, except for actual disclosure.
Yeah, Humana's kind of a fuck up, so I can confirm that.
Yeah, I won't say too much. I know some people who work there, but it can.
Humana is not a fuck up.
I mean, not completely. There's definitely pitfalls that they've hit, because I think this article even said, yeah, this is their third data breach. I think within the last 2 or 3 years.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's the billing department, because I've had endless fun with them.
Somebody sound like they've been receiving a bad invoice.
Dude,
yeah.
I told you get a hold of me and I'll give you a POC for somebody, but
a proof of concept?
No point of contact, damn it.
No, the thing is, you can't fix stupid. That's the issue. They have like sub billing and that. Even my doctors and that get confused. And these are people who do this for a living. So
Side rant. I hate the term POC as proof of concept.
People of color?
Oh yeah!
Oh damn!
Damn, overlapping. Oh, these overlapping fucking acronyms.
Actually,
Before I heard POC as people of color, it was not proof of concept. It was not people of color. It was yeah. I kindly thought people who were originally using it were being extremely racist.
Yeah, well, remember that there's that journal,
Piece of crap.
was that journal they put out?
Not surprised.
There's that journal they put out there called "Proof of Concept" or "Get the Fuck Out."
Oh yeah, it's an awesome journal.
But it reads as people of some people of color or "Get the fuck out."
I like proof of value better than proof of concept.
Well, I mean, I do know some people have complained to the people who write POC or GTFO about the title, and they have refused to acquiesce to the complaints to change the title.
So, proof of contraceptive?
Sorry.
Points of contact.
Look, you're deep into Linux. That's kind of self-evident.
Yes.
You like the human contraceptive.
I have a point of contention with that.
God dang it, Gendo.
Next. I'm still like the old jokes. I know that being big into Linux is no longer the hallmark of virginity these days.
That's why it's called Poppin with Pippy LongStocking.
God.
I still like the humor though. Self-deprecating humor.
Got to make it fun, gentlemen.
Did you say self-defecating or deprecating?
Deprecating.
All of it.
Even if it's no longer really relevant.
There you go. Okay, next up on the breach report, we have OXO, which Caprico likes to put XOXO, but most of us aren't down for that. So they were compromised, breached, all that fun stuff. International Limited confirmed on December 17th of last year, but it's just now making the news that their e-commerce website was breached. And no point really going deep into this. All I have to say is Mage Cart.
Again.
And but one interesting thing they said, according to the Bleepy Computer article, at least one of the compromises suffered by OXO was Mage Cart.
I think I saw a similar article with this on when I was at SecKC yesterday, where a guy put in a credit card skimmer within the JavaScript. He injected his code in there, and then someone decided to also put their own skimmer, but instead of skimming the cards, they were sending that guy's skimmer fake cards.
Nice.
And the code was just hilarious to look at. It's like, I can do better. Here, have fake card.
So that's who's watching the watchers.
Ooh. Hackers watch hackers, man.
There you go.
They do.
That's like
oh my god. She's gotten so big.
She has.
Yeah, she's growing. She's growing up so fast.
Oh, beautiful.
No, Dad, no, like cereal. That's all for you.
That's all you. Yum yum yum.
Yum. Woo!
But that also reminds me of something I saw this week, where some of, I don't know if it's hitting Leo's yet, but around airports and other sensitive areas where they don't want drones flying around.
Yeah.
Whoever oversees the security, probably some government organization, they have their own specific drone that has a net attached to it that they can shoot the net out, and then it gets caught in the rotors of the drone that's not supposed to be there, and either one gets in the rotors and a parachute releases, so it falls down somewhat lightly, or two, it releases and then has a cable connected from attack drone to
Right.
to a victim drone, and it just flies the victim drone wherever they want it. And so somebody was saying, okay, so attack drone, what do we have to be able to take down attack drones? And what you guys were saying there kind of remind me of that. Like, okay, so we got the watchers, now we got the watchers watching the watchers. How deep does the rabbit hole go?
Well, they were also experimenting with anti-Wi-Fi guns, which would basically give like a focused disruption that would basically have the drone sever its connection, and then most of them, when they have that, they just auto land to avoid crashing something.
Yeah, and
the DJI ones I know do that. So your Phantom drones will do that.
And that
you lose connection, it just goes straight down.
Yeah, and that is an interesting question. So I'm assuming then they cannot or they don't have any way to reestablish. So if communication is broken at all, there's no way for them to reestablish? Or does it have to be like for a certain period of time?
I think for a certain period of time, like, so say it's kind of like with like a timeout, like like for an HTTP request. Yeah. So from your handset, your phone, or whatever you're using to interact with the drone and fly it, that then is making constant requests to say, hey, are you there? And then the drone will be like, yeah, or vice versa with the device, and that handshake keeps going. If that is missed a few times, then it will hit a certain if statement to say, if has been this long, stop, drop, and
roll.
Then you're good.
Wait, so how is it recovered? Does it still have the GPS coordinates where it last dropped?
Yeah, it would then try to reestablish where it was, or it would send out like a last known location or something like that, which would be an interesting thing if you can intercept that signal, and then if you could intercept that signal, block the signal, have it drop, and then grab it and run away with the drone. But that would be mean.
With those Wi-Fi guns, that's entirely possible, because while it's in the crosshair, so to speak, its its signal is lost, so it can't do anything. And then of course, once you get access to it, you pull the power, flip the switch, or whatever it has to stop it, and hey, now it's your drone.
Yeah,
that is interesting.
It is interesting.
I'm curious, just for research purposes, where does one get one of these nets and one of these Wi-Fi guns?
YouTube.
Are they custom made?
They probably are, because it's still so brand new. You probably have to make it yourself.
I mean, there are companies building them, but from what I was seeing, I think they only have contracts with law enforcement and/or government.
Yeah, I guarantee.
God damn it!
Unless you're not Gov or Mill, they're not going to sell to you.
Yeah. So you just can't catch these things and resell them? I could make a killing. God.
Well, yeah, could, but you have to kind of.
They haven't. So they weren't able to stop the Heathrow drone that shut down that airport. Or 3 weeks ago, another London airport during a very, very busy holiday week got shut down because of drones. I don't know if they caught the Heathrow. I'm sorry, what was the airport in the UK? Heathrow's the airport in the UK. Gatwick. The Gatwick airport shut down something like hundreds of thousands of people's flights. In the Heathrow one, it shut down at 6 p.m. on Tuesday, but the flights were able to resume like an hour later. The past one, it was 1,000 flights were canceled or diverted, with 140,000 travelers at the second biggest hub in Gatwick 3 weeks ago because of a drone.
Yeah,
so I don't know if that's where you were mentioning this, but they've invested in that military-grade anti-drone technology, and I guess Heathrow is going to do that now.
Yeah, and that's probably where some of the some of the Facebook posts and Twitter stuff started, was because word got out that they were starting to look into this, and so it blew up this week due to that. Yeah,
they might be able to put like a shield around the airport. No,
a shield.
Yeah, a shield of sorts. A shield, not in a physical sense, but a shield that would
be able to disrupt the signal.
So
and
what
disrupt the signal.
So what you're talking about is jamming technology. There's several,
a jamming shield, whatever. Yeah.
There's several problems with that. One, you can only do it within a limited scope. So the classified technology I was working with in Iraq, it only had a limited range, and it was
it took right.
And is it limited in radius?
Yeah,
radius limited, or is it height or width limited?
It's both.
Because it broadcasts in a sphere, because it's basically
it's a sphere technology. Okay, so radius.
Well, because it basically, most jammers transmit just garbage signals to overwhelm it, and they drown everything out. So that's a common way of doing it, because it's simple and easy to do. But the problem is, if you start cranking that power up too high, you're going to start melting receivers. So
not just melting receivers, you're also going to
kill people.
You're not. You're not necessarily going to kill people, but you won't be able to use cell phones.
It's going to jam everything.
Is it going to make pacemakers
explode? Right?
Yeah, but at the airport,
it doesn't interfere with flights.
But who's going to?
Yes, it will interfere with flights.
I mean, holy crap! Airplanes have very sensitive electronics. It's no joke.
I think we should do this. This sounds like a good idea. People with pacemakers exploding,
no
cell phones melting in their hands.
Gendo.
I was just going to suggest flat cannons and spotlights like the old days, but okay, this sounds much more devastating.
I mean, Jack, when you were
let's just shoot out an EMF.
You were working with stuff like Duke antennas, right?
I'm not at liberty to discuss what.
Okay.
I'm not at liberty to discuss. Only thing I know is that it was borrowed equipment.
Okay,
I'll just leave it at that.
Okay, no, yeah, I mean those things like for example, on the Duke is it's a vehicle mounted system designed to defeat command detonated IEDs, usually through a cell phone, and those have a fairly limited range, because if they're much more powerful, you risk harmful radiation, and B, you'll probably destroy someone's device because it's so freaking powerful. It's just gonna melt the receiver, kind of thing. Figuratively, not literally, but it will fuck the electronics up.
Yeah,
I like where this is going.
I'm just gonna bounce all my drone stuff off a satellite and say screw it and come down from above.
Gonna get some
Enjoy
weird
that
Well, I mean, but it's still, but you're still dealing with a frequency.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Be a much higher frequency.
Imagine that this chat is a certain frequency, and then someone just comes on here and starts screaming and filling it with noise. Can communication continue? No, that's how a basic jammer works. So.
Yeah, but most of the stuff's still going to be low level. It's going to be sitting on the ground somewhere going up.
Not necessarily.
No.
Oh, well, yeah, I guess you could do it airborne.
Aren't lasers an alternative?
In what way?
Burning a hole through it.
No, well, I was going to say like some sort of optical control signal.
Through
I
what?
don't laser gun if they exist.
Well,
I don't think drones respond to that. Do they?
The issue would be you would have to keep that in line of sight then to the laser, because lasers, to my knowledge, don't, for the ones that are cleared by the FDA, and yes, the FDA is the one that regulates lasers.
Which is still
UK.
Not in the UK.
True.
Well, we're all gonna die then. Okay.
You need to have a. Okay, actually, yesterday I was at a talk where a guy was talking about how speed guns work that cops use to measure how fast you're going so that you can get a ticket. The way that the laser guns are built is you have one lens that transmits and then a larger lens as well on the gun to receive the signal back. That
It's on the
bounces
back
up.
side, right?
No, it's on the front.
I thought the outside lens was in the front. The other lens was in the rear of the device.
The one that he was talking about, the model had it that there were two lenses. You have one smaller lens for transmitting and one slightly larger one to receive that signal back.
That's cool to know.
But you have to think that is within line of sight, and it measures the laser is actually measuring the distance that it's happening, and then it does the calculation distance time or plus time over something else. I don't remember the exact equation.
And lasers also have the drawback of being a visible light spectrum. So if you get Charles.
Yeah.
Could you mute, please?
Go ahead.
You mute the she's
Yeah. So lasers being in the visible light spectrum, any kind of atmospheric conditions like fog or dust or smoke will diffuse it and probably render it inert depending on how heavy it is too.
Mm-hmm. Even with the ones, especially with the ones that aren't within the visible range, because that is a longer wavelength, I think.
Infrared?
Yeah.
Infrared? Yeah, it's a longer.
Yeah.
Right.
So you would be able to pick it up on a camera, or like an IR camera, but
and they're usually very low power to keep them from damaging like someone's eyes or something like that too.
So theoretically, if you had a satellite-mounted laser with, let's say, some sort of reactor or quick power system, and a clear day.
Well, no, because the ionosphere and more would diffuse it too. That's really basic physics right there.
And ozone.
Ozone, yeah, basically all the layers of the atmosphere you have to go through and diffuse it.
if you were to have like the doomsday kind of laser that you're thinking of, I think heat death would probably be the most likely cause first before your drone picks up that signal.
Right.
I just want a laser sword, lightsaber, if you will.
And then, of course, that was the whole premise of Real Genius, but we won't get into that one.
All right, let's go on to the next one here.
Okay, next up, we have German politicians data publicly published. This was a pretty fun one from mid to late last week.
Yep.
So, all of a sudden, out of the blue, Twitter account at _orbit, which has been suspended, but I didn't look it up, but I think you can look them up on
archive.
Yeah, archive.org or whatever it's called. Started posting a lot of stuff about German politicians. And let's see. Oh, I had it right here. Like some of the stuff they were posting.
Oh, it wasn't Angela Merkel's nudes, was it?
Oh, no.
Oh.
Thank God!
Now,
Not again!
Now, the president of the Czech Republic, I can look at her nudes. That'd be okay. Look her up. President of the Czech Republic. That'd be okay. She's a little older, but, you know, she's in good shape.
You guys are weird.
We're all on a podcast together. We're all weird.
Political world leader we fuck.
I will say, I was at the Wax Museum in Amsterdam, and there was a wax statue of Merkel, and I did not. Nope. It was still like, nope.
Yeah, because Merkel was included in this one. But yeah, so the dude on Twitter started posting stuff that included phone numbers, addresses, chat histories, vacation photos, and other people other than politicians were also like journalists and celebrities. But so they reached out to the NSA and then NSA. I'm not sure if Germany actually like was able to track the guy down, but the NSA was initially. They were pointing towards, or German officials said they were identified APT-28.
Oh, you're talking about the one who hacked the German officials' accounts?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that Dan had nothing to do with that. The guy fucked a PopSec.
Agreed, but initially they were pointing to APT-28, which is Russian in origin.
Okay.
And then the second story we got in the show notes is the German teen who confesses to the data breach affecting 1,000 politicians and journalists.
I didn't know the idea. Fucking teenager. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh, too bad he wasn't 16.
Oh.
Yeah. He would have had. Oh, actually, yeah.
Every fucking stereotype.
How is he being called a teenager? German teen confesses to data breach while authorities
That's an
initially
adult.
they brought in 20-year-old German man.
Oh, yeah.
How is he
Maybe
19?
Maybe he just committed a crime when he was 19.
Yeah,
but it's just like this is really
within the last like couple months. Whenever he pumped all the data.
Yes, it's a far right fucking high school or college kid. It's everyone is correct in this situation. The
Far
boomers
right.
are saying it's a far right extremist. The people who grew up on the internet are right saying it's a fucking child.
Yeah.
What do they mean? Far right. I hear that term quite a bit. I'm not actually sure what it means.
Anyone who's not a leftist. Anyone who's not a communist, rather.
In this case, he's defined by far right based on who he doxed. And essentially, every politician other than the self-styled far right party in Germany.
All right, so maybe that's a good label. I just never know anymore. I hear far right a lot.
The actual definition of far right really does vary from region to region, as the underlying politics really changes a lot depending on what part of the world you're in.
Yeah, and Europe is far more in general per party farther left than we are even.
So a conservative here in the U.S. would be called a far right person. I would imagine.
Correct, in some areas, yeah, you could say that. But
in
other
liberal,
areas, super far left. Yeah,
and the liberal in Australia is conservative. What?
Yeah, because Australia also lived under a very monarchistic rule when it was a British colony.
Yeah,
and
we can get into that later.
It was a prison country.
Also, it's fucking Australia. So.
Australia's badass, man. I love Australia.
Watching some of its TV news programs and so forth, it does seem to have a bad case of the feminisms.
Australia?
Yeah.
I didn't notice that while I was there. It was really fun.
Well, then again, it could be the news.
A couple of great cities.
It's selected for that, so you know.
Yeah, you can only live in 2 parts of Australia, though. So,
I don't know. I rather enjoy the Gold Coast.
I want to live in the deep desert, so people leave me the fuck alone.
The deep desert. With are they called Aborigines in Australia?
Yeah, the Aboriginals. Yeah,
yeah. Out there with Mick Dundee.
They hate when you bring that up.
I love that movie. Or all of it.
I used to fuck with them and bring it up. They hated it. Absolutely despised Dundee. I mean, they like him to themselves. They don't like people bringing him up and associating him with Australia.
How do they feel?
That's what from what I learned.
How do they feel about young Einstein?
Oh God.
Oh God. Yahoo serious?
I'm completely serious.
Oh, that is a fun movie.
I like it.
It's been so long. I haven't seen it since it came out, pretty much. But
I have it.
I remember it beat like Crocodile Dundee in Australia itself.
Did it really?
That's my understanding.
All right, what we got next?
I didn't add this one. Neiman Marcus. Did anybody currently on? I think AP did, but we're still working on getting him up and running tonight.
Or is he not? Is he asking for the link someplace?
Yeah.
Where at?
send it to his Twitter or anywhere that you know he has access to.
Yeah, because I think we got space for one more on the cast.
Because I'm not connected to him on Twitter. AP just typed, I added this.
Baltimore, in the District of Columbia and 40 other states have settled with luxury retailer Neiman Marcus for a 2013 data breach that exposed payment cards for thousands of customers. That is the best typo ever.
How many is thousands?
Do you notice new media has so many typos in it when you go read online mags? It's obscene.
Tech blogs are terrible for this. Anyway,
not only tech blogs, news blogs like HuffPost, all of them.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're all. I'm going to keep reading before I say something stupid.
Look at the show notes.
I didn't mean to sidetrack the conversation. It's off.
Yeah, it's fine.
Cappy, make sure to look at point 2 under there on the show notes. It's very important.
In point 3, if you would.
Is it? I'm gonna. Do I need to? Oh, yeah. No, I'm glad I opened that on another window. All right. Anyway, resolve to pay the multi-state investigation into the. Okay, there I am. Breach that exploded payment cards for thousands of customers. The chain must pay $1.5 million to adopt measures to prevent hacks. Okay, probably a better way to say that would be: are they creating a actual plan to prevent this stuff? Like, is there?
Holy crap! 1.5. Like that was the only penalty they had.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look at.
I mean, it'll cost 1.5 million just to get like their low-level monitoring going. Like,
right.
Yeah, that's absurd.
That's
and for them to be forced to utilize 1.5 million, that's even worse. Like, screw that. That's such judgment.
That's just how it goes. It's normally lawyers in a room talking, saying, "Hey, look, this is what we're willing to pay, and this is what we're willing to accept," and then eventually, it all comes down to lessening the monetary damage. And if they were able to talk them down to 1.5 million,
well,
if I was on for the security team there, I would have been like, "Screw that! No, I'm really hoping we get like 6, 7, 8 out of it." Like, I get what you're saying about the lawyers, but still.
Well, what's the minimum? Another thing too. What's the minimum legislated requirement for them to have to pay to do this? Because 1.5 million seems like a pretty low and pretty round number.
No, I mean that's
somebody's got to make money.
No, right. That's just a cash fine, and then they have to adopt the countermeasures to prevent it from happening again.
Yeah, that's true. Must pay 1.5 and adopt. Okay, yeah, I misheard that.
Yeah, I misread that and misunderstood that, and then someone's hot pocket's done.
No, that's Jack. He's backing that up.
Wait, you can actually hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you, AP.
Yay, hot pockets are done.
Whoa, hot pockets are finished.
No.
Did you convert?
Was there really a hot pocket?
Did you convert your CRT into a microwave?
Sort of.
Oh, cool.
It's actually a convection oven because microwaves just make nuclear melted center stuff.
Yes, they do.
Hey, there's a mute button on this thing.
Ricky is so excited.
Ouch.
That's like the find of the year for Ricky.
Yeah, look at that.
Oh my god. And it's only the 9th day into the year.
Yeah, and Ricky's only been on here for how many years?
18, it seems like.
That's because you're ancient.
Anniversary is coming up here shortly. I'm trying to remember what day it is, though. Someone else look up when the first episode came out.
Okay. All right. When once that's done, anyone else have anything on the Neiman Marcus stuff?
Yeah, I grabbed that one and threw it in earlier when I read about it because That's all. That's a pretty interesting amount of money right there.
Yeah, it's yeah.
I think we're starting to see more and more accountability.
Well, also, how much are Neiman Marcus worth?
Shit ton plus a buttload more.
Okay, got it.
Probably. Plus, you got to understand that's one of those classic New York stores. You know where ugly rich people go to buy ugly clothes.
Yeah. So Neiman Marcus is worth $4.34 billion.
Okay, so that is literally nothing to them.
It's nothing.
Adrian, to answer your question about what the first one, it aired on January 18th of 2017.
No.
almost
No,
2 years.
no, it was actually the 11th with episode 0.
Oh, okay.
Oh shit! Starting at 0.
Jack and I were only 2 here part of the first one.
Probably. The 2-man crew. Two live crew.
2 live.
Okay, trivia point for you. What was the original name of 2 Live Crew?
One live crew, and then he added a second.
Nope. Their original name, they were sued. They were sued out of existence, and they reformed as 2 Live Crew.
No idea.
They were 2 Dead Crew.
Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
No,
No. That the original lawsuit only covered his name, Luke Skywalker. Not
right, but the band had to change their name. I still have the cassette tape of 2 Live Crew and the later copy that came out, earlier copy that came out as Luke Skywalker.
Really?
All right.
If you listen to some of the songs, you'll notice they talk about Luke Skywalker because that was one of the guys in the band. That was what his band name was.
Yeah. I looked it up. One of the records is for sale. Record. Yes, thank you. On sale on for sale on eBay. Luke Skywalker.
Well, we're talking about dumb stuff. Bash 5 was released today.
Nice.
Yes.
And I'll send the link in the chat.
Cool.
Let's see what this is.
One of the more unusual things about that 2 Live Crew, though, back in the glory days of the 80s, with Tipper Gore and all that happiness, and they tried to get them. They tried to get all of their music banned, and for being too lewd and nasty and all that happiness. And Bruce Springsteen allowed them for free to cover "Born in the USA" to make the song "Banned in the USA."
Nice.
He actually supported them.
That is cool.
And what's even more funny is their music wasn't even all that controversial. And compared to what's out there right now, it's nothing.
My grandmother could listen to that compared to what's out there now.
Exactly.
Okay. We are done with the breach report. So next up, we got Weird Group of the Week. I think Adrian.
All right. Slash fic writers. Is anybody here familiar with what slash fic even is?
Yes.
Yes.
If you give the origin of the name, my understanding is used to write fan fiction. Star Trek, and they'd put in, well,
oh God, it's teenage girls shipping 2 guys together.
Yep, hold on. Let's be quiet. Basically, it got its name from my understanding, Spock/Cook, because people would ship those 2 together. By ship is short for relationship. People would like to fantasize or talk about, TV show characters or some other type of character getting together. Like, people would ship Fox.
Yes. Fucking shipping.
We have an expert on this. If you want to talk to Mary, she knows an expert in shipping.
Anyway,
go ahead, Adrian.
What they are. A slash fic writer is someone who essentially likes to write fan fiction, but with a homoerotic bent. So basically, like I said, Cook, Spock, or you might have Skinner and Mulder instead of Mulder and Scully. You get my drift. And
or Draco Malfoy and Harry Potter.
Oh yeah, there's a lady I know who specifically wrote Lord of the Rings /fic. So I'm not sure who all's doing who, but there's probably a whole lot of Hobbit love going on. Now, I don't read a whole lot of /fic, basically none, but I've hung out with a few. And there's one universal I've noticed them. There's this weird, I'm gonna call it geek girl sexuality. Both of these girls I knew who wrote /fic were very geeky. They were also obsessed. I mean, obsessed with sex. They'd constantly make sexual innuendo about how hot this guy or how cute this guy was. They would, talk it up a lot. But every time even one of these women got an opportunity to have sex with a real person, they'd back the hell down or they'd, scuttle off. I mean, if someone expressed any sexual interest in them, so they constantly acted and talked about sex and acted like they were interested. But then when someone expressed interest, they would clam up, which I'm a little confused by.
Oh, I've run into this before. They're all talk.
Well, anyway, that's what a /fic writer is. Does anybody have any opinions on /fic writers?
There's a special place in hell for them.
There's no real difference between them and any other kind of fanfic writer. It's just that they've taken their own little, they've hung up their own little shingle. Fanfic has been out there forever. It will be out there forever. It's one step shy of Rule 43. Okay, there's always been fanfic writers. And then when people got bored with fanfic, then they were like, let's make gay fanfic, let's make slasher, let's make this, let's make that. So it just builds on it. It's really falls under mostly harmless.
It's mostly harmless, though some of the celebrity stonking can get a bit overboard.
You say it's somewhat harmless. I've talked to women where this is their whole thing, and they create elaborate universes where all the guys are banging all the other guys from existing franchises, especially anime.
I can believe that. There is actually
who does that hurt?
Well,
you don't understand. Then they start identifying as men.
I know. I have friends of mine who write this stuff. They go to the conventions. They get up on the podiums and they talk about it and all that. But they're no more dangerous than people running around in Star Trek red shirts.
Well, to answer your question about the danger, even though it's still a fringe of the fringe, shows that tend to write canon stuff in their characters that don't agree with the narrative that certain /fic writers want to happen end up having the actors receiving a lot of death threats. But this is kind of like they're damned no matter what they do.
Or
even with cartoons.
It impacts the actors. So
once you become famous, you get death threats. It's part of the game.
But it's not just it's not just the actors, it's also the screenwriter. I mean the script writers.
Now, hang on. I have seen this myself where you've got young women who obsess over these things, and then they start thinking that they identify as a man. So I've seen it become a gateway into transgenderism.
For those people, it's like you said, it's a trend. They let them experiment. They'll find what they really are comfortable with after that.
By the way, Rule 34 wise, there's one I got to bring up. Apparently, there's a lot. You know how Supernatural is real popular with like the Tumblr crowd and everybody.
That's exactly what I was going to bring up.
Here we go.
So, you heard the term
all
incest.
the shouting was that. Yeah.
Oh yes, that's not specific to Tumblr.
Brothers getting together.
Yeah.
That's not necessarily wincest. That's I can't believe I've been saying this.
And Adrian, the actors have talked about it on stage.
Oh hell yeah!
Like how sick it was, and it was referenced in one of their shows about the homoerotic fan fiction of those two together. Like Dean, the character goes, "Don't they know we're brothers?" And Ken goes, "Yeah, they know," and that's the point to it. But they ship all kinds of characters on that show. There's Destiel, which is Dean, and the Castiel, the angel. Almost every show I watch, there's shipping of some characters. It's weird. But hey, like most people said, it's almost perfectly harmless. People fall into trends as long long as they're not making any life-altering surgical decisions, I see no issue with it.
Yeah, I mean,
Good for them for having a hobby.
It does kind of remind me of a strange dynamic in the whole fan fiction world. I noticed, like back in the day, the only thing that's really big was fanfiction.net, and then suddenly some place called Archive of Your Own popped up, and it had its own foundation and legal lobbyists, and the primary writers of that site seemed to be the Tumblr crowd, which I found really, I found that I found it academically fascinating. Like a lawyer started the whole thing. I actually talked to one of them.
Have you ever read the writing? Some of it's not bad.
I'm not saying they're necessarily bad writers. God, no. Some of them are really talented.
I know you're not. Yeah, I know you're not.
I just found it really.
The fact that some of them's really good.
Can you explain to me the sexuality of the two I knew who were obsessed with sex, except for when they could actually get it?
It's some weird. I'm guessing some weird self-consciousness thing.
Yeah, there's guys I've known at work that way. Where a girl, talk about girls all the time. Like a guy that works in, my department will go out to a bar. A girl will hit on them, and they freeze up and shy away. Well, it's easier. It's easier to do from behind the monitor than it is to do in real life. It's unfortunate, but that's what it is for some people.
I mean, it's all really just comes down to having a false sense of self-confidence, like portraying that so that you seem it's a normal sociological thing where you to fit into a place you or into a group of people, like if it's dudes, if it's dudes with dudes, if it's girls talking with girls, it's just you talk about that. You talk about sex. It's an easy thing to immediately say, like, hey, I'm really like I would really like to do this, blah 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 blah, or whatever the fuck. And then time comes that you actually have that chance, you freeze up because it's all false, and it's all false in your head. So then you can't do it, and it's just something that everyone does. Most people do.
Yeah, I don't know if it's okay to talk about sex at work anymore.
Well, don't forget, you're in 2019. You go to reach and talk out to somebody at a bar, and you could lose your job.
Yeah, it is the current year, guys.
I mean, you got to be afraid to talk to anyone. You got to say, hey, you look real nice tonight. What do you mean, you rapist? Oh my God! Twitter. Tomorrow morning, you lost your job.
And if you ignore them, it's ignore rape.
Right.
Sorry, I should have laughed at that.
You're raping me with your eyes by looking at me. You're half naked in a bikini.
I have no. Wonder Woman does piss them off a lot.
Yeah, I've not run into that issue.
What, ignoring women and pissing them off?
Yeah. Oh no, I didn't catch that part. I'm sorry. About the accusations after talking with somebody about rape.
It's a poetic license that you can read about online. You hear about things that people say. They bring up a realistic issue, like say catcalling, and then someone else will jump in and say, "Yeah, but sometimes just looking is just as bad as that." And then someone else will come on and say, "Oh, but even pretending to look is even worse than that." And it's a one-up game,
I understand it as a phenomena. I just have never seen it in real life.
The problem is feminists have watered down the definition of rape so much that everything is rape now.
Yeah.
Some feminists. You got to be clear about the language here.
Oh, no, it's feminists. That's like some Nazis.
Well, no, because you have to look through the history of it. First waivers through second waivers, rad feminists versus the sane ones. Because there are radical groups that kill anything with a penis, and then they're the ones that are like, well, we wouldn't mind getting paid the same money for the same work.
They already do.
The suffragettes were terrorists and racists, so.
Nobody's perfect. I mean, the KKK was an insurance scam before it became ultra racist.
Was this insurance involving white sheets or something?
And guys,
that came later.
I have something terrible to admit. The person who came up with the intersectional feminist, her last name was Crenshaw.
Was it a relative?
The thing is, feminism is a concept. It's not a bad thing.
Two sides of every coin, Adrian.
What was that?
Two sides of every coin.
Two sides of every coin, you said.
I mean, the unfortunate truth is, Adrian, you have to kill yourself now because, that's
How many fucking Crenshaws are there?
It's a pretty common name, so a lot.
But he does have Dan, so that kind of makes up for it.
What was that?
He does have Dan Crenshaw from Texas.
Cool.
That does make up for it.
I'll take Dan. I'll accept Dan as far as I know. But I'd accept him as family if he was.
Yeah. No, but he's a super smart, witty guy, regardless of what side of the political aisle he's on. He's a really bright young man. I don't know if I could call him young man, but he's a very bright guy.
Yeah, I bet none of them have anything on Bernard Crenshaw.
It does feel weird calling a former Navy SEAL with an eye patch young man, doesn't it?
I know it does.
I may be older than you, but
I felt wrong saying it. Yeah, that's why I kind of pulled back quickly. But
yeah, I understand, man.
A hero, a super bright guy, and now a congressman.
And the dude with the right writing is funny as shit. Like you see when he got to go on Saturday Night Live to
it was awesome.
Oh, that was beautiful.
And how cool was it of SNL to let him on?
That was cool. I gotta admit, normally SNL just annoys me, but that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I agree. They annoy the hell out of me, but even the guy that made fun of him, I don't know his name. He's not recognizable to me.
Hopefully someday we'll have a Crenshaw president so everybody can keep asking me, are you related to that guy?
Yeah, and you can lie and say you are. Yeah, sure I am. He's my second cousin.
My dad did cheat on my mom with a guy down in Texas. Oh, what guy? Shit. What the hell I just said?
Well, now, this is turned into a therapy session.
Wow. What are we learning tonight, buddy?
My dad did cheat on my mom with some woman down in Texas, so who knows?
He's your brother. Oh, no shit.
I don't know. You never know. Actually, how old is he?
No idea. Let's see. I can look it up. Dan Crenshaw.
Did he cheat or did he just trick?
34.
He is 34 years old.
Yeah. Okay.
So he's a little older than I am. So I can't call him a young man.
He's too young in this particular scenario. He'd still be too young to be my brother.
Oh.
I'm going to start calling cops young man from now on.
He couldn't be president, actually, because he was born in Scotland.
Oh, he was?
Yeah, he was born in Aberdeen.
Then there's confusion about what is a naturalized citizen.
Well, he has to be a natural born citizen.
That's not necessarily the case. Like if it's
for presidency, you do. That's like the only exception.
No, it is definitely the case for the president. You have to be natural born. There's no argument about this. There's no argument. According to the rules, the president has to be born on U.S. soil.
Do you realize the people listen to us talk over each other and get upset?
All right, everybody, let me just say something real quick.
Wait, did they get upset or did we get upset?
Let me let Adrian speak just a minute. My first question is, he was born in Scotland, you said, right? But are both his parents American?
Oh, actually, that's a good point, because if his mother was, I don't know.
Yeah, Ted Cruz was born in Canada, as I recall, but he was able to run.
Yeah, and same for Barack Obama, because even if he was born foreign, his mother's is a natural born citizen too.
If you have dual citizenship.
What about the founding fathers? They were all British citizens born in British colonies.
Not all of them were born in Britain, but some of them were born I think a few of them at least were born in America.
Well, America was British colonies then.
Yes.
Well, I was just going to make the point that McCain was born in Panama because his dad was in the military. That was the point I was just trying to make.
No, he was born on military base in sovereign U.S.
Good point, Jack. That's exactly right.
So basically, naturalized could mean born a citizen. So even if you were in Scotland, if your parents were American and you had American citizenship from birth,
yeah,
it would be considered naturalized. I've seen a whole list of arguments about what the hell naturalized means.
You are a natural citizen if you're born on U.S. soil, which includes military bases overseas, or if your mother is a citizen as well. So even if you're born in a restaurant in China, but your mom's a U.S. citizen, you're not a U.S. citizen, natural U.S. citizen.
And there you go.
All right. So I've got somewhat of a vulnerability of the week that is a little different. It's more of just something more towards what's happening in the vulnerability research and the bug bounty world. I've got it here in a second. Not that one, that one. So Diam, I don't know how to say that, is offering up $2 million for remote iOS jailbreak code, and another $1 million for a WhatsApp remote code execution.
Yes.
And what Diam is essentially they buy 0 days from people, and if I have a feeling with this amount of money on the table and about, I'm going to give it in a month or two here, I think the next I will be talking about that vulnerability.
Associated to a nation state.
Yes.
Probably. Like $5, the NSA gets iOS jailbreak.
Yeah, that's their major client is the NSA.
That much money, it's a nation state actor. Has to be.
Yeah, but also imagine the fact that if you found this and you've been sitting on this for a while, you immediately could have gone to these guys after they announced it and been like, here.
Yeah, but for iOS, I mean, and somewhat Android, but it's not as high on for Android. They have pretty much a consistent offering. It's not always quite as high as 2 million, I don't think. But I mean, they have a consistent offering. If you find anything that's a remote like that, like you can get paid some mad money.
They know 0-click up there. Yeah, 0-click iOS jailbreak.
And then there's a
not a multi-step.
Yeah. It's essentially an external injection jailbreak. Like, yeah.
Yeah, with one click, I can see someone writing a jailbreak. That'd be more than one click. But you could... I don't know. This is...
Got to get past the App Store, too. Got to get it in the App Store, too, I would guess.
Yeah, so I don't think that would qualify as one click. But I'm not sure what their metric is on that. But there are
to go to the App Store and then the second click to download it. So that's 2.
And to launch it. That's
there you go.
So, yeah, it depends on what they define as one click. They also have another ones, but the ones that I mentioned are the most notable as for the general scope of what is out there. WhatsApp is mentioned because, and really high up there at the 1 million mark, because in Europe and most of the Eastern Hemisphere, that is the population's go-to messaging app. So it has a very large user base. They want to make sure that if there is a vulnerability out there, that they're the ones getting it and it's not released on the wild. But hackers will be hackers. They will do with what they want. And then they have a bunch of other server-specific ones that they've upgraded. So PHP OpenSSL, Microsoft Exchange, VMware ESXi, escapes, which I covered VirtualBox's escape last year. where a guy was able to go through the network card to do that. So I have a feeling there's another way that you could do it that way. So this is kind of a roadmap of what I'm going to be watching to see what's being paid out, and then also what is been popped for the year to come. And definitely check out these guys. And they do have a Twitter, so I think they will be posting their stuff to say like, hey, we made a payout for 2 million for this or whatever. But bug bounty programs have nothing on these guys now. Because I've noticed some discontent with bug bounty researchers and the programs, because oftentimes they'll just take the report, fix the thing, and not pay out. Something that happens often, and or they won't acknowledge the fact that there is a vulnerability there for either information disclosure or for remote access. So seeing something like this is saying, okay, there are going to be other people that will pay more than just like BugCrowd, HackerOne.
But is that whenever they're going through a BugCrowd or HackerOne, or is that a site offering up a bug bounty and them independently trying to work with the website or company for a bug bounty? Like, are they going through that middleman like HackerOne?
So I
because I haven't heard of that with, you know, kind of the middleman approach. I'd know of it happening with the one-to-one.
With BugCrowd, it does happen. So BugCrowd is, so when a company puts out, so let's say Square puts out a bug bounty program onto BugCrowd, HackerOne, and CrowdStrike or whatever. They have the actual ability, they are given the ability to use those sites to then interact with the researchers. So they actually have people to, when you're interacting, when you send a report, someone at that company is reading that report and then interacting with you to say, this is what is going on. So it's still that one-to-one. You're just going to a third party to get there, and and by using their services to kind of think of it like a demilitarized zone.
Yeah.
So like, if I'm talking to you through this is my NDA, the demilitarized zone. Like, this is what is going to be like where we talk about this, so that one, you can pay me for my report or not, and whatever, and we can discuss what's going on. But then there's the loss in trust when companies decide not to pay out and still fix the vulnerability anyway.
Well, there's a lot of legalese in there too. I've been on the receiving end of some of these, and I've seen people who do things like, as soon as they find out there's any kind of bug bounty, whatever, they automatically scan the site and submit whatever they find. And it's all automated. So it's like, you know, hey, you have a banner page on in your Telnet connection, and that's a big vulnerability. Now pay me money. And it's a real pain in the ass to fish through all that crap to find real discoveries.
Right.
And a lot of times there's like it's more than just NDAs. It's like a lot of times there's scopes where you say, you know, hey, I found this vulnerability. And says, yeah, but you went outside of the scope when you researched it, so you get nothing.
And sometimes those scopes are really strict on what you can and can't do. So it's like, okay,
you have to do that, because otherwise they're going to throw every fuzzer, burp suite, whatever tool at you, and, you know, maybe even cost you downtime or something just looking for a bug that may or may not exist.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, imagine if 10,000 people all decided to run burp suite against your website at the same time.
Yeah. I mean, like, whenever I've done some for, like, I don't remember who it was, one of the bug bounty guys, but they were working with DOD. So DOD wanted some of their external stuff, you know, tested. So I was part of that. But they were very, very strict in, you know, what IP addresses you could touch, if there was a range, if there were any exclusions. Like, Yeah, very strict in what you can and cannot touch. Like you can do this, but not that types of stuff.
And then a lot of the testers go out there and they're like, oh, I'm not going to read this because that's not a real world scenario. And I gave you a real world test instead of your protected one.
Yeah.
And, well, you broke the rules. Congratulations, you get nothing.
There you go.
One of the guys at my job was actually a part of the DoD bug bounty, and he ended up getting a very nice sum out of it. He actually popped them, so
yeah,
congrats to him for that.
Yeah,
that last year in I think the fall.
I mean, and it's good too because they're becoming much more open about, or we'll say open about actually doing bug bounties.
I want to see in the future social engineering tests.
Yeah.
So like with all the bug bounties, it's always web app based, which is fine. You need to test your web apps. You should be testing your web apps, and you should be doing a lot of other things.
Not always. I didn't want to throw you off that point. It is a lot of web apps, yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But they still need to be tested. Are you saying not consistently tested?
Not like, yeah.
I mean Ricky though.
No, not at all. I'm just saying the bug bounties also include non-web based applications.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they'll include Android, iOS apps. Most of it is app
the whole
based.
scope.
Yeah, most of it is app based, and then desktop applications as well. Like WhatsApp's right freaking here. The desktop app is in scope.
Yeah. Signal wasn't that a bug bounty? Signal, the desktop Windows desktop app.
Oh, hey,
I think so.
Speaking of Signal, did anybody use the PC version of Signal, the desktop version of Signal?
Stay away from it.
Yeah, I know stay away from it, but you know why?
Because there was a bug in the implementation that the Chromium, it's a bug in how it was implemented.
It's not even a Chrome, it's Chrome.
Yeah, it's a bug of how Chrome. Oh, what the hell is it called? The module in Chrome.
Yeah, I'm trying to look.
Well, is anybody using it right now?
No.
I heard that bug like 10 months ago. Is there a new one?
Here's the funny thing. Okay, you start up the Signal app. Okay, fine. It's sitting here on my desktop. You click on that little gear, and then you say, dun 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 dun. What is it? And there's this one option in here. It was like view debug code or something, and it instantly turns into a Chrome debug page.
Huh.
Yeah, a lot of it is where they were storing the data. Looks like some of it was just vulnerability based, being able to intercept and manipulate messages. But I think they were storing it incorrectly. I think they were also able to have messages.
You open up Signal
in transit.
You open up Signal. You click on View, and you click on Toggle Developer Tools. And it's the exact same developer tools page from inside of Chrome. It's like this isn't even a standalone program. It's just Chrome being invoked with some extra stuff inside of it.
I would have to look at it. I don't have Windows machines.
Mm-hmm.
I would have to look at it in more detail.
It's a good place to start.
Everybody that I know that uses it, I've kind of told to stay away from it for now.
Yeah. But didn't they move away from Chrome, the reliance on Chrome like almost a year ago?
I'm looking at it
shortly
right now.
after that big vulnerability came out, there's a standalone installer.
I'm looking at version 1.19.
Let me see.
So in August is when the vulnerabilities for manipulating messages and altering messages to clients was discovered. They fixed the bug in October. So that's good news.
Yeah, and I think we covered that on that podcast when it came around that week when it was released in October, because I remember talking about it.
Okay.
I don't think I was able to find like actual exploits on how to do it.
Yeah, version 119. So the standalone installer still is based in Chrome?
I mean, it very well could be. I mean, like I said, if you're running it, all you got to do is click on View Debug Tools, and you'll see the exact same debug screen that you'll see for, developer tools that you'll see in a normal installation of Chrome.
Huh.
Yeah. Telegram had that
my
same...
understanding was that they initially used Chrome primarily because it was the only way they can figure out to get the key distribution working in a way they felt was secure. I guess it sounds a standalone installer is just another way of saying Chromium.
Okay, so December 12th, there was a post about the encrypted messaging apps vulnerable to side channel attacks that include WhatsApp, Telegram, and Signal. So yeah, I'd be cautious anyway.
Let me read up on that. I've heard a number of criticisms of Signal and WhatsApp that rely on a fundamental misunderstanding of their security model.
All right.
You mean the developers do, or
the reporters?
Oh, the reporters. Okay. Yeah, I wouldn't mind working with you on that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Cool. So you guys are gonna let me know when you guys pop WhatsApp, right?
I'm pretty sure Facebook already man-in-the-middled that.
Yeah, I'm not sure that. Yeah, so that would include Signal, Telegram, and WhatsApp, the most popular, encrypted message applications out there. I think the phone versions are a little less susceptible to these type of things, although not completely secure. But I think desktop apps are likely to be more vulnerable than their phone equivalents.
Now, here's the really weird question. Why is it that we cannot seem to put together a secure chat app? What's holding us back from doing it right?
One, I think it's so highly targeted. I think would be probably the biggest reason why.
So there's multiple reasons. Partly because we keep building new features with greater attack surfaces over time, and the other thing is non-technical issues like governments or Facebook that they don't like the security model of end-to-end encryption.
Screw arm twisting. Well, that's true. I mean, anyone can make an encrypted piece of software. Okay, why hasn't someone made one that works?
I think they do work.
Signal works.
A vulnerability does not mean a application doesn't work. You remember back in the day, let's say the Windows operating system. It's one of the most highly used OSs in business. Therefore, it's targeted a lot more than any other OS in the world.
Yep.
So you see a lot of vulnerabilities come from it. I think Microsoft actually has good development practices. Especially Windows 10 and probably 7 and up are pretty good secure OSs. They're just so heavily targeted.
Yeah.
Meaning if there's
I'm not talking about inherent problems like a bug or a vulnerability. You fix those. Okay, and then they're fixed. I mean, look what happened with PGP. Okay, they wanted to put a backdoor in PGP, and Zimmerman told them to stuff it. Right?
Yeah.
So, and PGP still is pretty solid. Now, is it a user issue? Because people are too stupid to use PGP? They can't figure it out. They don't know how to do this. They don't know how to do that. They don't want the hassle.
The Windows client was designed in the fucking 90s. Like it was updated since.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if it's all just stupid people. Unless you're just saying stupid people means not hip to technology.
The problems I see, are number one, stupid people, who either don't want to or can't or are just fundamentally too knuckle dragging to figure out the technology. Number two, profitability, because everything has to make money. Okay, and number three, the bad coding and who wants to deal with patching and fixing things. Those are the three major reasons why. Otherwise, there's no real reason why we can't have a good, secure conversation app. I don't see any reason for it.
Well, if you want to get really technical, what you could do is you could set up in an SSH tunnel to tunnel all of IRC or any other. You could. There's things you can do, but that's super complicated for the average user who just wants to talk with their grandma over text on their computer.
Yeah, but you know what? You don't need encryption to talk to grandma over text unless grandma's selling pot out of the backyard.
I mean,
so what you're saying?
Grandma,
I hate that argument. You know? I despise that argument.
Which argument?
The argument that you don't need encrypted apps to talk to grandma.
You know, in the whole theory of encrypt everything, yes, I agree with you. But I think that there are some situations where it's not, highly required.
Okay,
even in secure operations, there's time to encrypt and time not to. Now, yes, encrypt everything is it makes a great slogan. HTTPS everywhere, great idea. Okay, so I'm not saying that, but the thing is, where there's a need for it, okay? I just pop WhatsApp and I want to tell you about it, but I don't want to tell the whole world, I should be able to pop open something like Signal and not have to piss my pants every 5 minutes wondering if it's going to be cracked.
I didn't really quite get that last bit. But in general, you probably understand this, but more for the benefit of our listeners, the general purpose of encrypting stuff, benign communications such as grandma, is to help shield the communications that are sensitive elsewhere.
Right.
If only sensitive communications are encrypted, then the watchers know, oh, this is encrypted, it must be sensitive. The only way to get around that problem is to encrypt even the benign crap. So the watchers can't tell is it sensitive or benign.
That's an assumption, though. Just because it's encrypted doesn't mean that it's something horrible. It could be a brownie recipe. You don't know.
I didn't say horrible. I said sensitive.
It might not even be sensitive. I can send an encrypted message to anyone, and you look at it, and whether or not you think it's sensitive is strictly subjective.
And what
I could be sending you my scorecard from bowling last week, and someone could be looking at it and go, "Oh my God, it's encrypted. It must be sensitive." And it's about as sensitive as me not being able to bowl.
And AP, hold on one sec. Adrian, go ahead.
And what Live Beef is suggesting is that by having people encrypt innocuous stuff, like talking to your grandma, it loses that stuff in the noise. Because what do the watchers know to look at? Because they don't know this conversation is now about grandma and her cookie recipe, or if it's about the ANCAP revolution, where we will introduce the NAP and remove all taxes because taxation.
Yeah, but seriously though, if I took 3 encrypted conversations and put them into 3 different files and handed them to you, how would you be able to tell which one was sensitive and which one wasn't?
Ideally, I wouldn't. However,
typically you go based off the metadata.
However, if the only people that ever encrypt something are people who are trying to do something sensitive, then I know it's all sensitive. What a lot of people are suggesting is if people encrypt everything, even the innocuous shit that doesn't really matter would be encrypted, and it'll all be lost in the fire.
No, I get that. I understand the concept. I'm just saying it's a weak concept.
It's probably the most vital concept underpinning the anonymity of Tor.
Oh, you mean the government-run system?
The government funded. There's a difference.
Funded. The feds own half the Tor exit nodes.
Which feds?
Every FBI agency has a Tor exit node.
Oh, I'm
sure.
You
know this.
Okay, so this is why you use VPN tunnel through Tor.
Right. What I'm saying is, though, I understand the underlying concept. The thing is, you've got to understand that just because something's encrypted does not instantly make it nefarious.
No, you're correct, but it becomes a very strong signal if the only people who use PGP, for example, or Tor, are people who want to who are narco traffickers or want to look at child porn. It's a pretty fucking strong signal.
It's still no good. It's a strong signal, but what does that really mean? If you think I'm looking at child porn just because I'm running something encrypted,
have you heard of the needle in a stack of needles concept?
Looking for a needle in a needle stack?
In a stack of needles. Looking for a needle in a stack of needles. Okay.
No.
Okay. So imagine your goal is to find a needle. We'll say needle is a bad conversation or an illegal conversation or a conversation of interest.
You still have to be able to prove this, right?
Sure.
Not
but
speculative.
If there are hundreds of thousands of other innocuous needles in that stack of needles, it makes it much harder to find. It doesn't stand out.
Oh, even if it did stand out, how would you know what was in it? You would just have a theory. You wouldn't have enough for a warrant. You wouldn't have enough to take to a judge.
There, the theory becomes weaker and weaker. I don't know what we're disagreeing with here.
Well, in general, law enforcement have more law enforcement have different so depending what jurisdiction you're in, law enforcement or of your democratically elected or maybe non-democratically elected regime have have limited resources. They can only dedicate so much to a given task. If you become to do an analysis on all Tor exit nodes, traffic analysis on that, to try to determine what websites people are actually visiting, what hidden services everyone's actually visiting. That takes a lot more resources.
But it's also not encrypted at that point.
That's not necessarily true, unless you're talking about the metadata.
If you are running a Tor exit node, you know exactly where they're going and you can assign it to a channel.
I think we might as well move on. I don't think this concept's sticky.
Yes, that was. Let's see. What was that? That was vulnerability of the week.
We can continue the conversation later.
Am I wrong somewhere here?
I think we started losing track of each other.
It's becoming really circular at this point. So we're about 20 minutes till the point where we have to end the show, and we've got a couple more things on the agenda.
We can keep going forever.
Well, yeah, I know, but
for the sake of our listeners,
end of the live show. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. I do have a summary, but after the end.
There you go.
All right. So next up, we've got a malicious. Oh God, I can't talk. A malicious JPEG.
Because we've never had one of these before.
Well, it's interesting in how it's malicious. If you actually read the article, I don't know if Captain wants to pull it up or not. I saw you were looking at it.
I'm pulling it up.
So they had a JPEG sample. This is actually back from 2013, but it's still being used, I'm sure. And they ran through VirusTotal, and it actually started triggering flags on VirusTotal. It's kind of weird. But they actually did some.
Somebody saw me acting weird.
Yeah. What's that?
Sorry, I was talking to my kid.
All right. So
Darren is your son?
Yeah.
Not young enough.
We'll save that comment for later. But anyways, they found that there's actually comments embedded in the JPEG, which is not uncommon because JPEGs can have comments via EXIF and IPTC data, things like that. And those actually contain shellcode. So they were finding ways to upload multiple JPEGs and link them together using PHP eval statements to execute shellcode on there. So as a way to get around
input filtering. Holy
input
shit.
filters or file filters. I mean, yeah, I remember back in like 2008, 2009. Yeah, you were seeing C99 shells everywhere because someone would upload it because your fucking upload tool didn't actually bother to filter for that shit. So, hey.
Yeah, that's freaking okay. Cool.
I mean,
Sorry,
yeah, but
continue.
it's a good, it's kind of a thought here of, check your endpoints, making sure that they're sanitizing both your inputs and more. Strip metadata on things that don't need metadata. If you're accepting JPEGs or whatever, automatically filter out the metadata. Strip the EXIF data out, because if you don't need it, you don't have it. That's how they're getting shit in that way.
Yeah, a good way to do this when I was developing stuff that needed to have images uploaded to it and or other files uploaded to it would be to check the actual MIME type of the file, and also looking to see. So the MIME type is spot encode that actually says, or as a like says what kind of file this is. So if it's a text file, if it's a it'll say plain/txt. If it's a image file in PHP, or if it's a JPEG file, it'll say image/JPEG, and then you can do your logic from there. With detecting the metadata stuff, I don't know how to develop for that specifically, but I have a feeling there's a way that you could look into it to sanitize it as well. Also,
are there a lot of command line tools for that?
There are some. I mean, yeah,
especially for JPEGs.
It's gonna be a kind of situational things where you're gonna have to look at it and go, okay, do we need the metadata? No, strip it, and make sure you're stripping it in a sanitized way that it's not getting evaluated, because if your stripping tool is evaluating it while it's doing it, you make it owned that way too. So.
Just
you
real
gotta have a
quick,
good stripping tool.
Yeah.
in regard to that too, I was trying to find it. I had a tweet out there that a JPEG or a meme or something, I don't remember exactly what it was. I was trying to find it. Something I posted. But one of the responses was a good response because it had malicious files embedded within it, and it was being posted off to Twitter. And so one of the guys replied that whenever he or she, I don't know, guy or girl, but whenever they repost memes or repost pictures, they always take screenshots and then copy and paste the screenshot or capture the screenshot and paste it in if they like it, just due to you don't necessarily know if the stuff you're going to be reposting on social media is fully legit or if there's malicious intent behind it. So, I mean, it's a good idea.
Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Nope.
Oh,
nope.
You heard me. Yes, you did. Yes.
Hear who? What's going on?
Yeah, sorry about that earlier. I got kicked off, but then I got back in. It was full.
I'm still on there.
Yeah, we had a full chat tonight.
Full chat.
Yeah, that kind of wraps that one up. It was actually pretty interesting. There was another article they had later on about tar files, about how they get extracted and how certain metadata and flags can get stripped from them as well, based upon give you that little warning flag of, oh, which file is not from the internet. But
what is with people using VB scripts? I don't get it. All right.
Probably because it's simple and easy to learn.
Yeah. Very simplistic.
Guess I have to learn.
And it runs natively on Windows too, doesn't it? Usually.
There
you go.
Here's a question. Speaking of scripts and stuff, anybody still using Apple script and coffee?
Nope.
It just popped in my mind. Like, is anybody even using that in the Apple? Because you have, there's diehard Apple fans out there, and I was wondering if the Apple fans boys are still using.
HyperCard.
Because remember there was a time where the Apple fanboys say, no, dude, we're using Swift, we're using Cocoa, we're using Objective-C, we're using Apple Script for everything, we're using, just So I was just curious. It just popped in my mind. I was just curious. It's just like, having, I don't know, say the Xserve.
Most of the apps that you're going to see on the App Store right now are either written in Objective-C and or Swift. Snapchat, when they had their data dump, I was actually surprised to see that it was written in Objective-C.
Wow.
Yeah. When their repos got dumped, and I have a copy for research purposes.
That's right.
We all have it.
Yeah, well, everyone has it. It's been forked like 20 times.
Yeah, for research purposes.
For research purposes.
Well, but in all good faith, a lot of it is for like
I don't think
learning.
I don't think you can run. So the issue with Apple is you need to stay up to what their standards are when you're developing stuff. Same kind of goes for Android, but Android it's a little different because you're just coding it in either Java or cross-compiling JavaScript using what's the framework that does that? There's a framework that you can write JavaScript code or like write like an Angular application and then it compiles it.
Not React.
Yeah, it's React or I think it's React and Angular. You can use this tool to then compile it into an APK and then run it onto an Android device. But with Apple, you only are able to use the languages that will work with their hardware, and Apple is the one that decides that. And they decided that it's only Swift and Objective-C that are able to be used for development of their apps and used in the App Store. But you can cross-compile it too.
Okay. Well, now here's another question, and this is for everyone on the cast. Do you think the Apple culture is dying?
God, I hope so, because you can't fix stupid.
Honestly, realistically.
Their stocks just dropped quite a bit, no?
Yeah, their stock's been dropping, and that's due to reduced sales on their phone.
Lack of innovation.
Yeah, on their phones and stuff. I think they are decreasing the volume of phones they make by per model by like 10 to 15%, somewhere in there. Yeah. And then my other thought just on the Apple culture, I think it will still exist and continue on for freaking ever just because there are diehards. But I think the generalized Apple culture is slimming down.
Yeah.
Compared to where it was, because it's kind of like Reebok and Nike and Adidas in the late 80s and 90s, or wearing, Jordache was popular in the 80s. And then
Do you have an idea how much Adidas stuff I have because of Run DMC?
See? Yeah. But things get overly hyped. And they get big, and they get big quick. And essentially, Apple in that time span, I mean, they had cool tech. It wasn't always the best tech, but it was very popular
used as well.
Yeah.
Apple knew how to shine a turd. I'll give them that.
Yes.
Honestly, for me, I just started using Mac back in 2008. Okay, before that, all my PCs, I had an IBM ThinkPad running FreeBSD.
I got one of those somewhere in here.
Yeah, I wasn't convinced on the whole Mac thing, but one of my good friends, he brought me to the Apple store, and this is in Virginia Beach, Norfolk, excuse me.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Dude, you need a Mac. Like the same thing. The Mac can do everything your FreeBSD machine can." I'm like, "Sure, whatever." I was a hard cookie to crack. So again, like I said, till 2008, I said, you know what? I'm just gonna buy the MacBook. I bought the all black MacBook that they had at that time.
Yeah.
Well, I see how it
I
is.
had that one too.
Yeah. See, thankful. Yes, Ray. Adrian said it. Thank you.
Hey, that's all they had on sale.
Don't worry, Chuck. I got that one too.
Thank you.
Dude, their new keyboard, the keyboard on their new models is going to be the end of them. People hate them. I hate it.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. Like, I have a 2015, and this is the last keyboard. And I like the keyboard on this one,
Yeah.
But from what I hear, all of them since 2015 suck.
Dude, they've freed up all the time. I've taken mine in 3 times for repair. That's too much shit for a device that costs $2,300.
I have a late 2016 one, and I had massive chemical liquid damage in it because some liquid got spilled on the keyboard.
What that mean?
Wonder what kind of liquid that was.
On those foot websites again, where you saw.
Anyway, the keyboard was really, really bad and sticky. Fuck y'all.
Confirmation.
They had to replace the entire board. I wonder if it ended up costing me like $1,600 or some shit.
Yeah, and all I gotta say to the sticky part, I see how it is.
So
no,
am I the only one? Am I the only one who watches Louis Rossman? Because he covers a lot of this.
Well, no.
Isn't he the Apple tech guy?
Yep.
No, I don't watch it, but I wouldn't mind being linked to it.
Yeah, he's a certified Apple technician that goes. He actually talks some mad shit about Apple lately because of making it difficult for guys, because his whole business is running around being non-Apple Store tech support.
Yeah, that's where I got my service done, and it was like Adrian, you were talking about paying $1,600. I paid $300 for mine through a third-party Apple
certified
reseller,
tech.
Certified tech, whatever.
Wow.
Yeah, they were much cheaper and quicker. So the estimated time was much shorter. I think I got it back in 2 days, where Apple was estimating 6 weeks.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So another thing too, with the decline of the Apple culture, I do think it is happening, and it's been happening since 2015. So during the years of
Obama,
like 2000, well, basically, 2008 up until 2015, they were having a lot of focus on the actual usability of the products themselves, rather than all these weird features, and they were killing it. They made the touchpad super usable. They made the keyboard super usable, and also it was and the software, so OS X that was running on it was super easy for, say, people with that were either blind or hard of hearing could use it, or had some sort of motor dysfunction. They could use it efficiently. So they had that market cornered. Now and even for normal users, it's like if you give someone a Linux PC, you know they're going to screw it up really fast. But what's
a Linux PC?
Okay, a PC with Linux on it.
You know what it's called?
You know what it's called? The right way.
Is that like a Hackintosh?
Windows? Yeah, it was.
Windows.
Oh God, I miss Windows. Those were the heady days.
Yeah.
But it when you give someone, you know they're going to screw it up if you give someone a computer with Linux on it, because it's not super intuitive. You have to do a lot of work. You have to look into, how do I actually use this?
You have to memorize the commands.
I mean, yeah.
It's not as bad as it used to be.
Yeah, 15 years ago, yes.
Right.
Yeah, AP was
how many user groups right now are, my 5-year-old can install Ubuntu.
Yeah.
And
yeah, but we're also talking about people. Okay, I'm talking about the times between 2008 and 2015. There's been a lot of improvement in Linux in terms of its usability through like Ubuntu, Linux Mint, and CentOS. Debian's getting there.
Debian's like the perfect distro for me.
Yeah, that's why everything's built on it, right?
Yeah,
right. Everything is built from the ground up from that, but because it was a good kernel or a good distribution, and then everyone built off of that to make their own distros. But if you give someone at any point from when the MacBook line really came out, it was super easy for someone to pick it up and intuitively go and find the things that they needed to then use the Mac to fulfill their needs.
I don't know if it was just easier. They also catered to people in the creative space.
Yeah, and the creative space aren't super technical generally.
Well, yeah, but also
generally knowing that there are some that are super technical.
I mean, but
so what you're saying is it's overpriced hardware for liberal arts majors.
Yes.
Yeah, more or less.
But too, what Apple did, they did incredibly efficiently, and the reason
that's where I was going.
They were able to cater to the creative spaces is because they got in with the different colleges.
Yep.
And they paid different colleges X amount to only teach Adobe products on Mac hardware.
Yep.
And that is what I mean, because the Adobe products work perfectly fine on Windows. They did the same shit. I mean, Mac paid.
There was a day when that wasn't. There was a day when that wasn't true. There was a day, you know, a long time ago where you could only run Photoshop on Mac hardware.
That was a long time ago.
Right, but that's when you get your foot in the door. Once you get that foot in the door, you can keep it there for 10 to 15 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now we're getting to the point where people can build way better PCs.
Oh yes.
On their own and run at at a higher efficiency for a fraction of the cost of what it is to have a Mac.
And Apple's trying to undo all that too, and they're trying to like go back to highly customized, you know, our own hardware. You must buy our hardware, and you know all that other ridiculous. They're starting to go back that way because if they don't, they're not going to be.
8 or so years ago, they started catering. Well, not catering specifically, but InfoSec professionals started using Mac. A highly technical group. But I think they did that because, you know, there were some apps that, you know, that we use that was developed for both Linux and Mac, but not for Windows.
Yeah.
So they were ported or built specifically for Mac. So that's how I got into it.
Yeah, and one thing that Mac does have over Windows is that it's Unix based.
Yep.
BSD.
Yeah.
Yep.
Unix base.
Yeah.
I like to make sure we throw in BSD because Charles is on the cast.
What? Exactly. If we didn't, he wouldn't have that smile.
I see what's going on in the background. That is Fluxbox, baby.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Flux you.
Yeah. Oh! Now that is fluxed up.
It is fluxed up.
You got booty bandit all upset at you.
The booty bandit. Not again.
This is getting fluxing ridiculous.
It is fluxing ridiculous.
I'm all fluxed out.
Yeah, my only other couple thoughts on Apple. Shit, what were they? Well, I know the
too
one
expensive.
Yeah, they're too expensive. But
bar sucks. Keyboard sucks.
Jobs passed away back in 2011, and as you know, most companies have a forward outlook. You know, and most companies I've worked at, from the top down side, they have about a 4 to 5 year forward outlook. And at minimum, you know, and it gets smaller, more refined as you go down. But they have like big picture, you know, 4 or 5 years out. And
you know, Apple answered that. Apple answered that directly. Tim Cook said it would be immoral to. It's a sin to look forward.
Yeah, which okay. Well, you see how the company's doing now.
That was kind of a joke, but
yeah. But to look forward, that hush. But I think a lot of it has to do with the leadership and where they have decided to go. I think Jobs had a different perspective on where the company needed to go. I didn't like Apple back then. I'm still not a massive fan of them now, but I definitely appreciate what he did. And I think, you know, the change in leadership is kind of showing how they are and how they're going to be in the future. at least under the current leadership structure.
But you know something, and that same now for Linux, right? Do you think there will be more enterprise versions of Linux in the future? And
I hope not.
Do you think that, and this is my personal opinion, I think SUSE Enterprise needs to just die.
Yeah, it's oldware.
Yeah, I mean IBM. The last thing I ran for. I'm actually certified as a SUSE Linux admin.
Ooh, sexy.
Yeah, SUSE 11.
Humble brag.
You poor bastard.
Yeah, SUSE 11. But this was
it was free. Totally got it.
Well, this is the time where I was working with AIX 6, and we had to run SUSE inside of LPARs on IBM hardware.
Okay.
So
was this using core memory?
That's like double suck right there.
This was for a lot of SAP app. Because this when I was working with Northrop Grumman, we had a lot of SAP applications and a lot of different custom applications that was only designed to really run with the AIX, IBM hardware or whatever they had set up. And to cut costs, because the IBM hardware was becoming so expensive, my Unix team lead was like, you know what? We can virtualize a lot of these machines that are like smaller, that don't really work well on Solaris. Because with Solaris, what we did, instead of buying all those LDOMs, we bought like 2 T5220s and partitioned them up with using LDOMs. And then inside those LDOMs were Solaris zones.
Yeah.
It was like virtualization was a virtualization. So on the AIX side, what we wound up doing, we was like, okay, we have all this IBM hardware. Let's start making some LPARs and WPARs for the smaller web applications and compartmentalized applications. So instead of buying another license for AIX, we just went with SUSE Enterprise because it was a lot cheaper, and put those in LPARs on the IBM hardware. That's what we did. And I mean, and that's why I got certified. My Unix team lead was like, all right, you guys got 6 months to get certified in SUSE Linux.
Wow.
No training class. It's just you got 6 months to do it.
Yeah, but you also had previous Linux experience.
Right, but I
mean, if you like
SUSE Enterprise is a bit, there's a different bit of a curve.
I didn't have.
There's definitely a learning curve, but as long as you have that Linux background, I get being able to do that, and that shouldn't be too bad. But if you had some other administrators that were just like straight Win admins, like damn.
We had a new guy that was he had just started, and he was like freaking out. He's like, dude, I think, dude, you can do this. I said, look, because he was there to work on a special project with IRIX.
Yeah.
I said, dude, if you can do IRIX, you can do Linux. I said, listen,
you
just got to look at it from a different perspective. You just got to look at it, and this is with all Linux flavors. And anybody who's watching out there, if once you learn one version of Linux, one distro Linux, you're fine. You just have to understand whatever distro that you're working with, understand their package management and how they handle the file system. That's really it, because there's 80 base Unix commands.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. And then there's the extra ones that get added on to the operating system, depends on which one you're using. Now, the only Linux that I know that doesn't have a package manager is Slackware. Slackware doesn't have a package manager. You're doing everything through Tarball. And I don't think, of course, Gentoo has eMerge. But Slackware doesn't have a package manager, so you're doing everything. You're really compiling everything. And I mean, once you understand the basics, man, there's not anything you can't do.
Dropping the knowledge. We got any other show notes?
That's what Google's for. Also, if you have any troubles with Linux.
Well, yeah and no. And I'm gonna teach you something real quick.
Ooh, lay it on us.
If you're using Unix and Linux out there, stop going to Google. Read the man pages. They are there.
Thank you. RTFM.
Yep.
Read the man pages, because here's the thing: you can Google for whatever you're looking for, but that might not be the same command line switch with your version of Linux or Unix that you're using. The man pages are right there. You don't need Google. Whatever command that you're trying to run is right there.
But what if you're looking at the old tar man page and there's like 200 flags?
Read those 200 flags and figure out what you need.
Yep.
That's it. Don't waste your time on.
I'm kidding around.
No, but then you read the grep man page. Then you're like, oh, for me to sort through and find the thing I actually need to pipe into this. Okay, yeah, there we go. How the hell?
Emacs
as my old Pentagon teacher used to say, read the fascinating manual.
You want to really get a kick out of stuff and really get good with something? Read the VI manual page and read said man page.
Emacs.
And read said and
Nano.
See if you don't
Said
change
for
your life.
Nano.
Nanos is for noobs.
Nano.
Yeah, it's
you
nice
can say,
I have to walk
you were talking EMAC. Come on.
It's perfectly fine if you like Nano.
Because EMAC is similar to Vim. That's why.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
but
here's
perfectly fine if you like that. Go ahead.
So here's my argument on text editors. It doesn't matter which one you use, as long as you follow whatever standard of code that you're writing or whatever you're doing. I don't care how you do it, as long as the end result is the same.
Agree. I agree.
Like a filthy peasant.
But I don't know that it is. There's a day-to-day difference between Emacs and Vim and let's say VI.
Yeah, there is.
With VI, here's the thing. I started on VI, so I'm going to end.
Same here. I didn't know how else to use anything aside from VI.
Exactly. And then my first shell. No, excuse me. Yeah, my second shell. My first shell was Born, but my main shell, and I still use on my MacBook today, is Corn Shell. I still use Corn Shell to this day. I still got Corn Shell on here. I got Corn Shell on my MacBook. I took Bash off.
Nice.
It's just something. It's whatever you start with. It's whatever you used to. And I used to create this thing called the Bible. The VI instead of Bible is Bible. VI-ble.
Sacrilege.
And I had like different commands. Some commands that I found from like 97, hidden commands, how to do like split screens and everything else, how to edit two files. That's all in my Bible. So, it's just, and once you start using that editor, it becomes second nature. Just like with Emacs, whoever uses Emacs, it becomes second nature to you. So that's going to be always your editor of choice. And you're always going to make sure that editor is available to you, whether you've got to install it or not. You don't care, long as it works for you.
Yeah, but too, I have a preference. Generally speaking, I think people should have a understanding of all the different editors.
Agreed.
Especially if you're doing red teaming, you're able to jump onto a Linux host. You don't know necessarily what's going to be on there. Something's going to be on there.
VI?
Most likely.
The old VI.
Yeah.
The old VI where you're escaping with O.
Yeah, either VI or Vim, most likely.
Most likely VI. I know. Here's the thing. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, like, having a general understanding of all of them will definitely be a benefit to you.
Yeah. Sure.
I mean, you'll have your preference for your own stuff, but whenever you pop a system, like, you want to be able to work off whatever system you're on. So
I agree with you on that, but I will tell you, no matter what Unix system or Linux system you're on, VI will always be there. Always.
Yeah. It'll always be there.
I have not found that to be true, Charles. I found Nano to always be there, but I have frequently found VI to not be on a number of systems.
Oh, really?
Really?
Yeah. Debian at its base doesn't come with it doesn't come with Vim, but I know it does come with Nano straight away.
Does it not come with VI? That's weird.
Debian base, I think, has VI and
it doesn't. VI.
Yeah. The most frustrating thing is showing a new user how to use VI. So then you have to switch to something like Nano.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, that must have been a really customized system not to have VI.
I mean, because I've hit like not red team side, but just like generalized systems that I was sysadmin or whatever over in the past that only had like Vim on them and did not have VI.
Well, which is fine. I mean, Vim is Vim is VI on steroids.
Yeah,
that's all it is.
Yeah,
like
Emacs. And VI is cancer. Vim is great.
Damn. Right. But I will.
Like VI is the Neanderthal, and Vim is the human.
But I will tell you this: as long as you got the HJKL, you can't go wrong in any VI editor.
Oh, here we go.
That's all. That is the de facto standard in that editor, and you can't go wrong. Even if you have Vim, those will always work. The up and down arrow keys, left, right arrow keys might not always work depending on the keyboard. But I do know HJKL. There's nothing I can't edit with those 4 keys. Boom.
Yeah. Tell us how you really feel, Charles.
How I really feel? Let's see. No. What I'm seeing a lot of, and like I said, I was looking at a lot of the Twitter. I was on Twitter heavy today for some odd reason. That was because I was going through my little programming.
That's why your mental health seems to be in shambles tonight. I get it. I
was all over the place today, but no, my Secret Santa finally got his gift. I was super happy, but I was a little concerned about that.
Good.
And like he got his gift.
He was like in another country, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Are you okay saying what country it was? Not naming names.
It was in Germany.
Oh, okay.
Deutschland.
Yeah. So I said, hold up, my daughter is knocking on the door. Come on in.
On our door.
Come on in.
Charles is waiting for you.
Yeah.
You get a certain type of flag.
Hey. So yeah. So yeah. No it was to Germany. So I was super excited about that, and I got him. I'm a USB fan, which is pretty cool, and a '90s nerds like. It's like a little mouse pad, but it has different colors on it. So it was pretty cool. But yeah, besides that, what I was seeing on Twitter today, I'm noticing a lot of it was just kind of like the same old thing. My thoughts on my own.
Yeah.
It was like the same theme today. There was nothing that really stood out. Because sometimes I sit on Twitter. Now, I did see a shout out to Web Breacher. Because he started a new blog called
My Thoughts Are Other People's.
No. No, I think I retweeted it. It was like the OSINT Adventures, which is pretty cool stuff. And all they talk about is OSINT.
Yeah.
So find some little tidbits there, but I mean that's all that was going on today, realistically, on the Twitter front. I mean, nobody else was really saying anything, like normal, I mean, the usual.
I got a really fun OSINT story for him then, but we should hit the further reading, and then that will conclude the show.
Okay, so you want to do that off air?
Yeah, we can do that off air.
Okay, yeah. So other stuff. I got a couple on here, and there's a couple I didn't add. So first up, Vidar plus Grand Crab equals a bad day. So there are campaigns going around that include Vidar. Will steal data, and then once it has stolen the data, it communicates to the C2 server, installs Grand Crab, that then ransomwares the server or system.
You want to explain Vidar?
Not in great detail. I mean, but Vidar essentially it opens a channel back to the attacker system, and it takes your drive, finds anything that is potentially fun, interesting, and it tries to send it up to the attacker system. And then once it's complete, then ransomware touches the system, and which is Grand Crab, and encrypts the system.
Yeah, there's some pretty cool IOCs for VIDAR as well.
Yeah. So
if you have the ability to use IOCs as for threat intelligence in your environment.
Yeah. So what I mean, and it is pretty sweet because I mean, from a attack standpoint, so there's two ways that they're working on now of getting payment. So we're blackmailing you for payment to not release your data publicly, and then secondly, your stuff is now encrypted, and to get it back, you have to make payment to us. So I mean, it all comes down to money, and instead of just a one shot here or there, they're trying to combine them and make multiple payment avenues.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay. Second up, GitHub Free now offers private repositories.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Everything up until now has had to be public, and now they're allowing private. And you can share that with, I think, three
collaborators.
Yeah, 3 collaborators.
I'm confused. I keep all my repositories pretty private as it is.
I bet you I would too.
Yo.
Yeah, and you've got
TMI.
You've got Chuck inserting them.
Oh, I like that.
I heard that. Ow.
So what? My one thing, I'm obviously messed with GitHub. I haven't messed with GitLab all that much.
I have.
Does GitLab allow you to do private stuff?
GitLab, you can actually run your own instance of GitLab on a local network. So they have a package to run the server. My company uses that to source control all of our scripts and also do all that fun stuff, anything that we have to do with Git. What the big thing is, the big thing is with GitHub releasing it is now their competitor Bitbucket is going to lose a lot of its free and kind of like normal users that aren't necessarily a part of a company and or team.
Yeah.
Because on there you get to have full you can have unlimited custom or private repositories, but I don't know if there was a collaborator feature on that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's definitely cool.
Yeah, but with GitHub there was a definite need for that. I actually built a game. When I was in the Netherlands, we used GitHub to build out our game for our course. And it was all public domain, which is probably not the best idea, but it was the one compromise that we had to make out of many.
Yeah. Did I ever say this on air? Like my thought about OneDrive and GitHub integration since Microsoft bought them?
I don't remember if you have, not to my knowledge.
Like, I think that would be by far the best thing that Microsoft could do. I mean, because you wouldn't have to do it, but give the option of integrating GitHub straight integration with OneDrive and being able to have that stronger business aspect of it. Just for the file storage and whatnot. So store it within your personal corporate OneDrive or your personal OneDrive and be done right there. I think it'd be sweet.
I think it would be too, but it also comes down to the fact that GitHub is and Microsoft owns them, but they don't have any. They have very limited say over what the business actually does, or what GitHub actually does.
Yeah, for how long though?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right. People are still. A lot of people are still very uneasy about Microsoft's acquisition of GitHub and do not trust Microsoft. So going straight in and putting Microsoft branding on anything related to GitHub is, during this time, this could risk spooking more people to, take the plunge to go to GitLab or something else.
Well, I mean, but that's why I think they're potentially doing something like this. Letting you.
I have no doubt it will eventually happen.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Microsoft's.
I mean, because
of course they're going to do
it. I got a question for you about GitHub culture, though. That those same people who used to have that Carolyn Ada person hired, right?
Used to, yes.
Also, they used to have some slogan about meritocracy, but a bunch of whining got them to take it away. First of all,
it wasn't considered a whining.
Anybody who respects the concept of meritocracy, never hire them. They have short blue hair with shaved sides, and they talk whining about meritocracy. Don't hire them.
So, GitHub used to have a different owner. If I recall correctly, I think there was some accusation of sexual impropriety that, even though it was later determined to be false, as the allegations are out there and there was no way to take back the news reports that were talking about the issue, the guy decided to step down. A lot of details of the whole event are not really public, so a lot of conspiracies are out there, especially because the new leadership drastically changed GitHub's management structure from a relatively flat organization that allowed for remote work to a very traditional business hierarchical organization where everyone needed to report in person to the office.
Yeah.
So, I mean, conspiracy theories are definitely abound. I do recall, and I'm sure you've also seen this as well, Adrian, one of the people they had hired shortly when they had the new CEO, when they had new management for their diversity team, had a history of, I believe, there was a picture of her circulating around of a public presentation she did, which stated, "White women are the problem for diversity."
Wait a minute, white women are the problem?
Yes, that was PowerPoint that this person who works who I don't know if she still works for GitHub diversity area, but since she's the one leading GitHub's diversity efforts. And this, and it got a lot of backlash. I think the biggest backlash, though, from the that back then the new GitHub management was they had like a new terms of service, which effectively stated, if a white man complains, we will not listen. And I think I recall
and that was GitHub who said that.
There was a proposed change to terms of service, I believe, which faced numerous threats of lawsuits.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, because that is 100% racist.
Oh yeah, and I recall reading this in their comments, and though I don't recall seeing a specific passage related to it, at least one individual claimed that it was specifically targeted against people on the autism spectrum.
Wow.
And also threatened a lawsuit. So after they had tabled that proposed change to the terms of service, they never brought it back up.
Interesting.
But it's, I don't know. I've freaking talked to people not in technology about that when it happened. I freaking went to a shrink and just said, this stuff is fucking with my mind. I said, here, look, this is the kind of stuff that's happening in tech now. And before, what the words I stated sounded crazy, I showed pictures. And the shrink was dumbfounded at how stuff like this happens in America.
Yeah.
And sorry for going on a bit of a tangent like that.
But I have one additional tangent that please don't.
Nothing wrong with that.
Don't make this an hour-long thing. But on the same type of topic, because you mentioned the white women side, and it totally brought it to my mind. There was going to be a feminist protest in D.C., but there were too many white women who signed up for the protest.
It was Humboldt County, California.
Oh, what? I thought it was D.C.
California.
I think there were multiple protests that canceled.
2 weeks ago. The organizers called it off.
Yeah, they called it off because there were too many white women.
Yeah.
High enough diversity count.
They said it didn't reflect the diversity of the county.
I'm like, oh my gosh.
Intersectionality fucks things up. Dan Crenshaw's inventing intersectionality, man. All those fucking Crenshaws need the shit beat out of them. Fucking Crenshaws.
Freaking Crenshaws, man.
Yeah.
We just need to get rid of all those Crenshaws.
But you know, I one last thing about the GitHub stuff. I don't know if it's could be considered part of their culture or not, but they had activist employees pre-Microsoft buyout that were shielding people threatening people who maintain large code bases who had refused to implement a code of conduct. So, yeah, that was lovely.
By the way,
for code. That is such crap for code.
About Sage Sharp trying to drive somebody out of Linux development because they question they question weight stats as being not great statistics, and she called him a rape apologist.
Speaking of Shannon Sharp, right? I mean, what was it? Not
Sage Sharp.
No, Sarah Sharp. I apologize.
And that's not now. It's apparently Sage Sharp now.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. She's not Sarah Sharp anymore. She's Sage Sharp. She changed over to a young man now.
I thought she was trans. Okay, anyways, go ahead.
Isn't it software?
No.
Jeez.
No, she's changed over. No, she's changed over to a man now.
I thought she was originally male to female.
The
I did not realize it's the other way around.
The pronouns are they, them, I believe. So technically they're non-binary. I hate that I know all this shit. Oh, hell.
Technically, I'm just a bunch of carbon and water put together, but I don't call myself a carbon-based life form.
Okay.
Yeah, should. But I am bouncing out of this conversation.
You come up with things like telling you when there are waste of carbon and oxygen.
Anyway, next week's on the further reading.
What's that?
What were you gonna say?
No. I was looking for the article where she said she's changed into a man now.
Oh.
Wait, is it a man or is it a non-binary form of some kind? I don't think we want to know, so I don't know.
And you're specifically talking about the Linux developer, right?
Yes, yeah.
Wait, what? Yeah, sir. I'm sorry. Sometimes I get some of the activists confused in my head, and I was confusing her for a moment with Coraline Ada.
Yeah, no problem.
But it's Sage Sharp. Yeah. She says, "Hi, I'm Sarah Sharp. I have never taken a." Well, yeah, she's now Sage Sharp. So she's changed her name over. He has changed his. Man, the name has just been changed.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Sorry. Did you see the hashtag? Pound COC smells.
Yes, the cock smells.
Cock smells. They thought this was an actually good idea for a hashtag.
Well, to be fair, I think it is a good idea for a hashtag. It's a hilarious one.
Well, I don't think they intended it that way, man.
Just keep in mind also that they thought Me Too made a good hashtag until people reminded them that the hash symbol is also the pound symbol, so it became Pound Me Too.
Yeah.
A lot of them need that though. That'll get over their problems if they get a good fucking. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
That's some of them, yeah. Okay. But they have had some legitimate complaints, like Weinstein, piece of shit. Harvey Weinstein's a piece of shit.
Of his situation, but I'm trying to recall all the different stories. Some of it seemed like he was taking advantage of the situation, but no one said no. What exactly? Actually, what were the different stories of Weinstein? Did he ever actually force himself, or was it a matter of he started doing things and they didn't say stop?
It would require a few stories, from my understanding, of not just forcing himself, but also gatekeeping, saying if you want to get up into this gig in Hollywood, you got to have sex with Weinstein. Okay. Or maybe things that are not so subtle, things that are more subtle, where meet with Weinstein, and then Weinstein pressures him, and if she says no, she says, "I'm so sorry, you're not interested in a career, and furthering your career in Hollywood." So yes, he was. It was not just people not saying no. It was he pretty much admitted he raped people frequently.
Yeah, it wasn't like Louis C.K. type shit. He was more Bill Cosby type shit.
Hey.
Oh my God.
Family Guy did a skit on the family's watching TV, and the announcer goes, "And now Bill Cosby, knowing what we know now," and it's just a bunch of women passed out with drinks in their hands.
Oh God.
With him dancing to the theme song like it was in the TV show. I'm like, oh my God.
I will laugh my ass off at that.
It's pretty good.
Oh my God. I actually didn't realize regarding Bill Cosby. I went to an old timey a sub shop to get a bite to eat a few months back, and some of the decorations on the wall were a lot of old records, and one of the records featured Bill Cosby back in, I think it was like 20s.
What?
I never realized
that old.
He's back in the 70s, man.
Yeah, I have a lot of early recordings of his comedy albums.
He's got a couple of them from the 70s, I think, was when he started.
I honestly only knew if Bill Cosby really is a TV personality.
Yeah, 70.
Bill Cosby himself is an amazing album. You got to listen to it. Bill Cosby himself, awesome.
Yeah, I've never heard him sing.
Comedy.
He doesn't sing. It's all stand-up comedy. But he talks about his time in the military as a medic, and he talks about growing up as a kid and being a gym teacher.
Yeah.
Being on some of the earliest televised football games.
Yeah, he had, honestly, I mean, for me, I loved his comedy. Like, he had some of the best comedic acts I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Unfortunate podcast until you talk about Bill Cosby.
There you go. Did we already hit Tesla and the...
that just happened here the other day.
Maybe. Well, but we're approaching 2.5 hours here.
Yeah.
Well, we're finished the show notes. We're just in the bullshitting phase.
Well, we're hitting the other stuff real quick, or trying to hit it real quick.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't know there was anything left in the show notes. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Tesla was demoing a self-driving car out here at CES, and it ran over an autonomous robot and destroyed it.
This is how the robot wars start.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, I watched the footage of it, and it looks like it just knocked it over. But the company is like, "Oh, our robot is completely destroyed, and we'll never be able to show it," even though they had like a dozen of them there.
Oh yeah, I heard other stuff about CES. Aside from the headlines, all pointing out that originally one of the sex toy got an award until the management said, "Oh no, this is immoral. We must take it down."
Yes.
And then separately, I've heard, that was kind of they fucking. They've advertised other kind of sex-based robots in the past. Why the fucking
the morality of sex toys? I mean,
all this robosexual phobia.
Well, so I think there's a legitimate argument against sex robots that look like underage kids.
Yes, 100% agree.
Well, that's extremely. It's a piece of plastic, but it's also extremely creepy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And you know the scary thing is they've been available for forever.
Yeah. They're in Japan.
You can go on to Wish right now and find those.
Yeah, here's
the problem.
You can't get them into Canada. I don't think you can get them into the U.S. I might be wrong on the US part.
Maybe things are more further along than I thought they would be. I was going to say the problem is that you can outlaw them in the U.S. all you want. They're going to be manufactured in bulk in Japan.
Yeah. Like I said, Wish has them, and they just put the word "gift" on it, put it in a box, and out it goes.
Shit, we're supposed to be going quickly here.
I mean, but too honestly, if drugs can be shipped to somebody's home, or order it on the dark net and have it shipped to your home or shipped to somebody else's home and you pick it up.
For CES,
I don't see any reason why they wouldn't be able to ship one of those in. It's not like you're going to have a drug sniffing dog that sniffs out sex robots.
Nah, them should be accurate stuff, but you gotta wonder how. What tells they would find it says this is not just a child-sized doll.
Yeah,
you gotta wonder what kind of tells there would be there from something on the X-ray.
Where did you touch the doll?
But at CES, last thing I heard, apparently some of the companies there that kept advertising, secure or private, sign up now. One of the journalists that I follow, tech journalists I follow on Twitter, reported he had signed up for one of those apps, services, and the sign-up email they responded with included his password in plain text.
That is so common.
Wow.
Gosh.
Okay, next up, we have Indian DNF recruiters calling with job interview requests, asking for last 4 digits of security number, claiming the client needs it. Who threw this up there?
I did. Happened today.
That's actually pretty common. I know
Super common.
I know Panther Solutions, they're fucking scum, but a lot of them will do that because they're applying through a ATS, like at Verizon, something like that, and a lot of those require the last 4 to input you. So if they're asking for that, they're putting you into an ATS, go apply yourself, and cut the fuck out. That's what you do.
Yeah.
Yep.
You do what now?
Go to the ATS, the applicant tracking software that the company actually uses, so it's Verizon or whatever the hell it is, and apply yourself because you can do that.
Yeah. The funny thing was the numbers they give all go to voice over IP systems.
Yeah.
And the guy sounded like he was calling from a call center.
Yeah, they're in fucking India. I know how to read the mail headers, and I can tell them exactly where they are. And a lot of them, I'll ask them, like, oh, where are you at? And they'll go, oh, I'm in Las Vegas. And I'm like, no, you're in fucking Noida. You want the address where you are in Noida? Because I can get that. And they're like, oh, yeah, I'm in Noida. I'm like, why the fuck did you lie to me, bitch? I trust you now.
I just told him there was no way in hell I was giving him my PII.
Yeah, don't do that.
And I'm like, if you guys is a legitimate thing, then have the company call me and I'll give it to them, but not to you.
That's right. Okay.
Real quick, AP, do you know how to read email headers?
Do I know how to what?
Read email headers?
No, I just fell off a turnip wagon last week.
Okay.
And, what's a header?
That's a yes.
Okay, because if you look at them, a lot of them you'll use like Outlook or whatever.
Yeah, this is a phone call. I got this in a phone call, not an email.
They'll email you too. Usually, they'll usually do both because they get paid per contact. And if you look at the like the X originating IP or whatever in there, whatever their software calls it, that'll tell you exactly where they're located. Just do a quick GIP on that one, and bam. If they're in India, tell them to fuck off.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, next up. I threw the last 2 on here. Woo! Marriott confirms the breach was less than, wait for it, it's not 500 million. It's only 383 million.
Oh, wow. Holy shit.
Yeah. So
man, they really dodged a bullet there.
Yeah. I mean, God.
That the entire population of the United States?
Yeah, that was almost so bad, but it was only 383 million.
Yeah, I'm telling you. Is it the highest? Is still the highest ranking one?
Oh no. If it is 383, no. Shit. Who? I know there is a higher one than that. I can't think of it all.
Well, I think so there was
Yahoo.
They got
Yahoo and Equifax.
Well, Equifax was like 300 and it was like 14 or 20 or something like that. It was a lower number.
Yeah.
But that also had a lot more personal information though.
Yeah. But Yahoo was well beyond that though.
Yahoo was like 1.2 billion.
Yeah.
But that was also like email. That was like email address and password. So it's kind of like,
Well, Equifax, I mean, but too, what do you do with, and especially whenever it happened, you know, what do you do with email address and password? You reset everything on every website that you have access to.
Right.
Yeah.
But of course, Equifax was like, "Oh, we got your name, your email address, your address, your social security number. Oh boy,
Your credit card information.
that's oh, you're fucked."
Yeah. I mean, but whenever Yahoo happened, I mean, there wasn't two-factor wasn't a big thing yet, and it was still everything's done via your email
And MD5 hashing.
Yeah. Which, you know, is incredibly secure. Okay, and lastly, on the show notes, we have, yes, your phone's GPS data is being kept and sold. So hard to believe. A story came out this week. Some guy paid a bounty hunter $300 to locate a phone, and they were able to locate it in a very short time span, you know, down to a very close proximity of where the phone was. And then other people, you know, maybe some people that I affiliate with started looking more into that. And yes, it is a very common thing. There are paid services that you can go through and pay a nominal amount to be able to find a telephone number's GPS data within like a very, very short time span. We're not even talking like in the last week, I want to know everywhere somebody went. Like in the last half hour, where have they been? So they have those types of APIs and those types of direct access into this data. And subsequently, today, after some of these stories started going out, senators call on FCC to investigate T-Mobile, AT&T, and Sprint selling location data to bounty hunters. So I threw that story on there too.
You know, that the CEO of T-Mobile tweeted out the first time this happened, "We will stop selling to shady people."
Yeah.
Again, they did it again. And now he's saying, "We pinky promise we'll stop selling to shady people."
Is that what he said?
And
verbatim.
And it's
I'm waiting for the, you know, the blood oath to come out, you know. Then I may put some credence behind it. You know. I want that blood to be flowing and the handshake and everything.
Yeah, and the CEO of T-Mobile, he tweeted out, "We will stop doing business with this one company in March." So it's clear they have a contract they don't want to break because they don't care enough. Let me say this: they don't worry about enough financial consequence to break the contract immediately and suffer whatever financial penalty there may be.
Yeah.
It says, "Okay, we'll stop doing business with this one company. Yeah, they'll just rebrand them. They'll just rebrand themselves with a new name, new LLC. Then we'll sell to them all over again. But we'll stop doing business with this one company's name in March." And I think this is one of those topics which, unlike most issues, might actually benefit from people contacting state or federal lawmakers, as there is a lot of energy right now, a lot of confusion, people confused about where the actual issues need to be legislated, how to frame them in ways that actually, let's put this, write laws to make technological sense rather than just
having the knowledge to be able to write the law.
And also the news story we saw, that's on Motherboard, to my knowledge, it's not on the front page of the Washington Post, New York Times. The people, almost the vast majority of Congress, either federal or local in any state, they're not going to be seeing this stuff.
Oh no,
because they don't know this is happening.
Yeah.
As far as they're concerned, this is the fever dream of a paranoid schizophrenic.
Yeah, the only time that you see this stuff, the C-SPAN side and everything, is whenever Mark Zuckerberg is looking like Data or his evil twin, you know, testifying.
He's straight up looking like an alien.
So I'm exaggerating a little bit. There has been some more recognition from lawmakers in, I guess, the past year or two that maybe this stuff isn't just the result of someone snorting too much cocaine. But you know, there are a lot of them still skeptical. They need people to actually engage with them, and this is an issue I think could actually get traction.
Yeah,
and even
could.
I mean, have you ever seen Congress ask these technically inclined people questions?
Oh, it's
horrible. The Google CEO or Mark Zuckerberg, it's awful. Yeah. It's like they don't have any millennials or Gen X on staff to talk to them and make sure they prep the questions.
So there's actually a group called Tech Congress specifically meant to get people who understand technology working with senators. Last I saw, I believe there were 8 names. For all 500 plus working all 500 plus lawmakers.
I can volunteer. Wait, I can volunteer to help senators and so forth. Technically,
well, it's more so trying to explain tech issues, or when there's a lobbyist that comes to talk, you being in the room as an easy first pass bullshit detector.
Can I somehow convince them, perhaps, to catapult illegal immigrant Canadians back across the border?
Yes, send them back to Mexico where they belong.
Not
Canadians.
Canada. Like I said, send them back to Mexico where they belong.
Okay.
There were some senators that asked the Google CEO some good questions, but they didn't know how to follow up once he evaded the question. There were talks about China. And whether or not they store data and whether or not they're able to track his phone moving across. There were a lot of really good questions, but no follow-up because they didn't understand anything aside from the question they were asking.
Well,
he's easily
honestly,
able to evade.
I don't think they, in their own sense, understood the first question either, though. You know,
I don't think they understood the question
for them.
It was written for them. Yeah. They asked it. It was some of them were pretty good.
Yeah. The first questions usually aren't bad. It's just anything after that is just
once it's replied to and evaded, they just don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. Okay. I fibbed. There are 3 other things because I added them on.
Oh, jeez.
While we were having the show, because I think it should be said. Microsoft January Patch Tuesday. Shit ton of patches, but 7 or 8 are criticals, and yes, patch your shit. Dark Overlord, as Ricky mentioned earlier, makes good on their promise, and I posted a open web link to their posting as of I think today or yesterday, one of the two. We talked about last week,
their post or the
one on busy.org. So
okay, so not the
it has links, yes.
Treasure trove of their posts, just the announcement.
The announcement, but it does have links for downloads. Yes. And then but it is OpenNet. So
where's it at? The dark what now? I'm sorry.
The Dark Overlord, the group we talked about last week who popped insurance company gonna release 9/11 documents, stuff like that. Yeah, so they made good on that. They posted it out on busy.org.
Okay.
And they
have a link to that?
Yes, in the show notes.
They do have some stuff on the dark net.
Yeah, and
they're looking
in the wrong place.
I actually shouldn't have even mentioned it, but we did write up.
There is more on the dark net. I confirm that, but to anybody listening, I posted the OpenNet stuff so you can look around. If you're able to download, have fun. And then Cambridge Analytica pleads guilty. Who in the freak? Was that you, Ricky? Are you playing pool? Are you playing pool in the background? Come on, we're trying to have a podcast here.
I'm not playing pool, I promise.
Okay, Cambridge
pocket pool, but
Cambridge Analytica is pled guilty and incurs their first fine. It was a nominal amount. It was $26,000 whole dollars.
What?
Yeah. And honestly, I didn't read 100% way through, but you know they're a big name, so I wanted to throw it on there real quick. But since they're going now to civil types of lawsuits, we'll probably see more civil lawsuits being pled against them. So this is just a start, but they did plead guilty. They were going to be going into like litigation the next day, but they went ahead, pled guilty, and agreed to a settlement before litigation occurred. So they probably saved a boatload of money by doing that.
I will bet you $26,000 that they said, so we have all this data now. You want it? For a really, really low fee, like fine.
See?
God.
There you go.
I hate that we're so jaded.
But I don't know. That's just me.
No. I think we all are. I don't think it's just
well, but I mean, like you said, I hate that we are, but it's probably appropriate.
I think it's appropriate to be paranoid, or paranoid to an extent. I'm not so sure that it's healthy to be jaded all the time.
It's difficult to really go from it's really difficult to get the correct perspective and readjust your mindset to assess risks given today's and potentially any potential futures ills.
It's hard. Right.
But you 100%. But you have to have everything you have to look at everything with a filter. I mean, what is it? 23andMe? Are they being?
Yeah, they got bought out
by a drug company, which
by a pharmaceutical company.
Probably going to use their
this was very predictable, to be fair.
Well, yeah, I mean, we've been calling it for a year or two now.
Yeah,
but the
perfect
drug company,
reason to be jaded.
Yeah,
I think on that one.
But the drug company also is intrinsically like interwebbed with insurance companies too.
So now they will sell you or try to sell you because if you took the extra part of the test, not just your ancestry, but like what you're predisposed to.
Yeah.
Now they can market you drugs specifically to what you're predisposed to.
Yeah, but not only market you drugs that you're predisposed to, but if they are passing that data along to the insurance company, hey, guess what? Like, there's a 78% chance that Israel will get X by the time that he's, 65 years old. And insurance companies can then change rates based upon that data.
Yeah.
Yeah, my mom and dad did it. Not thankfully, but my dad did pass away, so he won't have to deal with that. My mom will obviously, she did the full shebang.
Yeah.
So the good news is I got the benefits from that. I know my ancestry.
Yeah.
And I would not put it forward myself. I would not take that test.
Yeah, and I would never, ever, ever take that test. But
I know that there's a push for the NIH,
to
try to do DNS testing for babies.
Yes.
It's not policy, but there's discussion about wanting to do a DNA test for every baby.
Yeah, which I am 100% against. And like with genetic testing, I'm against that, or the blood testing, genetic testing. I'm against that, but my brother did it. So I have all that data to be able to utilize. Even though it wasn't me, my brother, we share obviously very similar DNA. And so I have all that.
You do realize that it does affect you regardless, right?
Oh, I know. It's still going to affect me.
It's like almost the equivalent of you having done it.
Yeah. Sometimes people take those tests and they find out, oh, shit, you're not actually my brother. Or you're only my half-brother. What the fuck?
Yeah,
wouldn't you have to test too to find out?
Confirm that he is adopted. So happy. No, I'm joking.
Separately, y'all hear about the DHCP vulnerability? Or did you mention that?
No, I didn't see that one.
Oh yeah, bug and DHCP clients. No client.
Is
Anyways,
this all or just
Windows,
like Windows?
affects Windows 10, Windows 10, and below. Malicious payload. You've owned the system, or whatever the DHCP service, whatever user it runs on. I haven't actually checked to see if it's system or not.
Yeah, and just for anybody listening, this is addressed in this month's patches.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which you could download today. I did right before coming on.
No, you got to make it sound more salesy. You could download this today.
I'm a consultant, not sales engineer.
You could be a sales consultant.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna put my mic back on mute. Oops.
Oh, damn.
I'm just saying, I can't make a sale to save my life.
So somebody's got to do something about these 13-year-olds. Dang, they're just off the hook tonight.
I still need to hook up with you as. I'm sorry, you don't like to be called as Israel. I still need to hook up with you and
yep.
And chat.
Yep. We can do
I'm
that.
fine for you calling me Liz. What?
No, he said me. I don't like being called Iz.
I've been calling him Iz and Izzy, and then I found out like a relationship.
Oh my god!
Just go full funk. Just call him Fo Shizzy my Lizzy. My Izzy.
No, you're Lizzie.
I meant Izzy. Damn it.
It's still stuck in my head, so every once in a while I mess it up and I'm like, hey, Iz or Izzy, and he's like
like that.
He doesn't correct me on it.
Yeah, Palestine is better.
Palestine on fire. That's what we're going to call it.
Oh my gosh.
You know, I walked into a job one day and the my first day on the job, and I hear from across the room the director asking the manager, hey, has Jesus showed up yet? I'm like, oh, that's how it's gonna be. Okay. I see.
My nickname at my last office was Jesus, so
well,
I didn't show up to that one.
Yeah, that's what Simone thought about that.
Isn't there a song of Scorpions called Israel?
I don't know.
I'll look it up in a bit. I got to piss right now.
Okay. Hey, you go do that.
All right. Anything else on further reading?
There's nothing else. And sorry, I don't really apologize. I think all the further reading was somewhat interesting. That's why I threw half the crap on there.
Yeah.
But if you guys thought it was long, sorry.
Yeah, there's a remote code execution in Windows DHCP.
Yeah. Isn't that what Liz was just talking about?
I don't know. I zone out when Liz talks.
Really?
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I was gonna say because
I dropped in and out.
My god!
Hey, wait, real
all the people,
very important.
When we get off live, I'll tell you guys something.
Did anybody
that happened, and the reason why I've been tuning in and out.
I heard there was an issue with DHCP. If nobody heard.
Yeah. But there apparently this is new. Remote code execution in DHCP with inside of Windows. Heretofore unmentioned. Heretofore unmentioned.
Of all the people who would accuse me of rambling, I thought you'd be the last one.
I know. Yeah. Do you know you can spoof Google results, search results?
Oh yes.
Really?
Yeah. Those are fun.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, Reddit does all the time. They've you search Comcast, go to images. There's literally a swastika as one of the images.
Yuck. Last thing you want to see.
You know, I'm always curious about like the origin of symbols and stuff. Like, was the swastika originally used by the Nazis, or was there
there was a history before the Nazi use of it. Yeah,
it goes back thousands
It's
of
an
years.
Indian sign for peace.
Like
India,
like India.
It's in Buddhism. It's in
okay.
Japan. It's in China. It's all over the
I mean,
place.
because
But
it's
yeah,
such
it
a
goes
basic
back-
symbol, you would think that it had to have been used for something
Oh, yeah.
prior to then.
For sure.
Yeah, Hitler
Like I
got
said,
it
there's
from
variations of it too.
Yeah.
Now they did. It's not exactly the Nazi symbol. They did adjust it,
right?
So they made it their own in a way.
Yeah.
Trademark
the
and all
symbol. Yeah, exactly. the symbol that the Buddhists use,
like Twitter and Facebook logos,
is tilted and in the opposite direction. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's the
Native American
opposite.
also-
So where there's war, there's peace.
Hey, 12-year-old, hush up.
He's only, hey, give him some credit. Jeez.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. You're 13.
Israel, I've also seen Native American same symbol. There's a picture of a Native American basketball team.
Yeah. There's a Native American, like what caliber basketball team? Like
I don't know.
College
or high school or something. I'll find an image, but
Play high school.
there's a
I've,
picture
ne-
of a Native
I mean, I've
American
never heard of a purely Native American basketball team, so that's why I'm curious.
Yeah. So speaking of the swastika, there was an Asian man that walked around New York not too long ago. I think it was New York or London. He was there visiting.
Yeah, they're really close.
And he got mobbed by a lot of people. And everybody was on his side. They were like, look, don't you understand that symbol can mean a couple of different things? You know, this guy comes from a different culture. In his culture, it means something different. And then he released the video that kind of confirmed everyone who mobbed up on his suspicions.
Yeah.
It's a pretty vile video that he released. And I'm not sure that if he did it because he was mobbed up and like smacked and pushed and screamed at. But it is wild.
Oh, Israel, these are the guys I'm talking about.
So I saw the article was posted. I think it showed 2011. Does it say actually when that photo was taken? Because that photo looks like probably like 30s or 40s or
20s.
Yeah.
I don't honestly know.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely interesting though.
So homework for Israel.
No,
history
Israel
on the
doesn't do
swastika.
homework.
You must.
No.
We want a one-page paper on the history.
I'm gonna make it size 1000 font.
Symbols
Hey,
mean
there you go.
no. Symbols mean whatever they mean in someone else's head. What gets me is these dumbasses who keep saying, "Oh, the Nazis have appropriated a symbol, so I must no longer use it." Fuck you! Fight for your fucking symbols.
So the symbol came, and it's in the archaeology.
I know what it is.
Archaeology record as of 300 BCE.
Wow.
So that's been around for a while.
Which has
the swastika since 3000 BCE.
Oh wait, 300 or 3000?
3000.
Wow.
Before Jesus was born. Yep. Yeah, it goes back a long, long ways. Now, why the Nazis decided to use that image is for research.
About the whole genealogy, because they say they're Aryans, but my understanding Aryans originally came from India. Most of the people in India are not exactly white. I'm a little confused by. I need to look into that more. I tried to look into various radical groups because, like, I spent some time in Facebook forums of like white separatists and black separatists and all the weird shit that all of them believe. I got here, so when it comes to weird mythologies, the black separatists, they have a much more innate and interesting mythology with the whole Yaqub and all that. than the white separatists do. But
I think they got a better point, actually.
We might talk about that offline. I'll try to.
Yeah, let's discuss offline because I think we're done with the show notes, and the show is already now 3 hours long.
Yeah. I try to understand weird groups on the internet to my own detriment because I'd probably be better off just studying tech. But I try to understand what weird groups on the internet think, and I don't always understand what the fuck's going on.
Yeah. Well, it's something that interests you, dude. So, you know.
All right, we'll go ahead and go offline. And, folks, thank you very much for joining. We're at about 3 hour mark, so that's a good point. I think 3 hours, is that about right for a cast? What do y'all think?
Yeah, between 2 and 3.
That's what
I think we've been trying to target the 2 hours.
Yeah. 2.
Yeah. Are we off here? Are we off air?
Not there yet.
No, he's got to do his outro.
Almost, Liz. I know you're excited.
All right.
Let Adrian do his outro.
All right.
Yeah.
The lizard person really, really wants to get private here, so hey, big boy.
Yeah.
Once you go scaly, you shit. I need a rhyme.
Never.
You never go hairy?
You're always scary.
I don't know what rhymes with that.
No, I know. Once you go scaly, you never rock it with a tooth fairy.
No,
you don't
stop.
drink dairy.
No.
No.
Once you go scaly, you never go back to another way. Like, I don't know.
I'm gonna screen
I
cap
never
that.
had a career as a rapper. No, you're not screen capping.
That's going on loop.
Maybe once you go rep, you got a lot of pep. I don't know. All right. Anyway, good night, folks, and we'll go continue our private stream. But Cast, thank you for joining us. Peace. Good night.
Bye, everyone. Hack the planet.